The Blitz. 2 decades on the radio, Jason Minnix. 2 decades on TV, Joe Reinagel. 2 San Antonio sports voices you've trusted for years. This is The Blitz on 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
Can it be a must-win for both teams? Kind of feels that way as we get ready for Game 4 of the NBA Finals. Welcome into The Blitz here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. Joe Reinagel continuing his vacation. I am Jason Minnix. We are live today at the Dog Haus Beirgarten in Stone Oak. And quite honestly, I might need a nap after the lunch that I had. I had what is called the cowboy dog. Smoked bacon, cheese sauce, crispy onions, and barbecue sauce. Add in some onion rings, and it was fantastic. Caden, I had like chili and onion and fry. There's so much food here. And great food. Great bartenders that work for tips. So make sure you take care of them when you come in. If Reinagel was here, he would say there's something shiny over there, and you would know what that means. And, get in here. Watch the game with us here tonight at Dog Haus Beirgarten in Stone Oak. And, they got the TVs everywhere you are, the full bar. And like I said, the dogs were incredible. So between now and 6, and then, of course, after that, I will have a nice ice-cold beverage because I mentioned that full bar. And we'll get ready for this game tonight. And you start off, James, and I'm like, I woke up feeling pretty good. Spurs have an opportunity to get things right tonight, even the series at 2. And I say must win for them because, definition, not a must win for anybody because it's not an elimination game. For the Knicks, they know they can't afford to lose 2 games in a row at Madison Square Garden. All the hype. I mean, you go from having the president there for Game 3 on Monday to tonight. Well, you got Taylor Swift that's going to show up in the building. I wonder if the security will be extra tight for her or if she's just scouting for where her wedding is going to be in a couple of weeks. But in a lot of ways, you look at tonight's game, what is it, the NBA record? If you go up 3-1 in a series, they're 37-1. That one time was when the Cavs came back and beat the Golden State Warriors. It has happened. It can happen. But is it likely to happen? And so I look for the Spurs tonight to have that same kind of approach. And we have seen them all postseason when they have had their backs against the wall, if you will, faced a little bit of adversity, the pissed off Wemby, if you will. That seems to be when they are playing their best basketball. And we saw that in the game the other night, where you thought going into Madison Square Garden would scare the hell out of them. They didn't do that. They made clutch plays down the stretch. They're going to have to make those same kind of plays in tonight's game. And they're a confident, somewhat cocky group of players as well. So will they have that same attitude? And really, that's what you got to look for. I expect Wemby to be Wemby tonight. The Wemby that we saw in Game 3. Start inside and work your way out. Don't start taking a bunch of threes when you're 7'5". Don't be allergic to the paint. Live in the paint like you did the other day. In Game 2, he had, 4 shots in the first half? He made 4 of his first 5 from the paint in the first quarter, had 15 in the first half. That's the kind of production that the Spurs are going to need from Victor tonight. But at the same time, I'm curious what Mike Brown's adjustment is going to be to try to keep Wemby from being able to do that. So then you figure, all right, well, who else from this Spurs team is going to have to step up? That will be our poll question on our YouTube page momentarily when James gets that together and posts it, however you have to do that. But that's kind of what you're looking at tonight. A guy like De'Aaron Fox has struggled with his shot, but you listen to his interviews, he's not down on himself. It's a make-or-miss league. He's liking the shots that he's getting. He just understands they haven't been going in, but he doesn't feel like he's struggling. He's just missing shots. So you guys tell me what you think. Thought you were going to jump in there, Pledge. 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776 on the video. You look like you were about ready to say something. And so I was leaving that little room there. Yeah. I mean, is the poll question up? You got that up? Yep.
That's what I was working on.
All right. Oh, he's still working on that. But really, how are you guys feeling as we head into this game? You woke up this morning, and I know how it is. You either wake up and you're like, yeah, or you wake up feeling like, yeah, you're going to get this. I was talking to Jeff here at Dog Haus Beirgarten. He's like, Spurs by 10 tonight. He's got his lucky Tony Parker jersey. And again, whatever it is that you do and have done is what you have to do tonight to your small, which means nothing but to you. But whatever it is you do, you got to do it tonight to get this series even at 2. Because the idea that if the Spurs go down 3-1, that they would win 3 straight, albeit 2 of those would be in San Antonio. If the Spurs can get this, if they can get this even at 2, now it's a best of 3 with 2 in San Antonio. And I think the New York Knicks would be reeling a little bit. And that's what makes sports so fun, what makes the playoffs so fun. The idea of some of the crap that we've seen in New York with New Yorkers, Knicks fans attacking Spurs fans in New York just because of their jersey, that isn't right. And I know yesterday we talked about this a little bit. I saw one video yesterday, and last night I saw several videos, and it is disgusting that you can see that many people standing around videoing some guy getting his ass kicked just because he's wearing a Spurs jersey. In one of the videos, either a New York City cop or a rent-a-cop, but some guy that was dressed as a cop, not doing a damn thing to stop it. That's what's crazy. The idea that, all right, look, we can disagree on teams and you can be angry, but, you should be able to walk around proudly in New York as a Spurs fan with your chest out a little bit, just like we saw a lot of Knicks fans walking out of the Frost Bank Center after games 1 and 2, all geared up. And, a little friendly FU here and there is fine. But when you're chasing somebody down or kicking them from behind and then beating the crap out of them, man, that's going too far tonight. And maybe karma will bite the New York Knicks in the ass just because of that. And maybe, De'Aaron Fox will have a night where he's, 9 of 14 at shooting. Who's the most important Spur not named Wemby in Game 4 tonight? That is our poll question on YouTube, which you can access through sasportstar.com. Or if you're on YouTube, just search out San Antonio Sports Star. Pledge made your options, Castle, Vassell, Fox, or Dylan Harper. I'll tell you now, I'm going to vote for De'Aaron Fox because he's got to be able to score. And you look at Fox, while he didn't shoot the ball well in Game 3, he's got to score. He's not a turnover machine like Steph Castle has been when he's handling the ball, but De'Aaron Fox has to be that steady guy, but he's also got to contribute with points in the stat sheet. I know he can say he's getting the looks that he wants; they're just not going in. He's got to get those shots to go in. I mean, when you look at the way this series has gone, and the Spurs had opportunities in every game. Not saying they should be up 3-0, but if it were 2-1 the other way, none of us would be surprised. They've had the lead in the fourth quarter of every game. All the games have been close. Even Game 1 ended up being a 10-point game, but in reality, that was a 1-point game with just over 2 minutes to play. But when you look at scores of 105-95 and 105-104 and 115-111, some of those missed shots from De'Aaron Fox, are really the difference in a game. He's got to play big. And you also have to look at how the game is going to be officiated tonight. The refs are going to be a part of this story. And I know all of us hate that. All of us hate that. And if your team loses tonight, you're going to blame the officials. But when you think about what Mike Brown said after Game 3 about the officials and the free throw disparity, and then you look at the league was reviewing that Jalen Brunson foul, although obviously not upgrading it to a flagrant. And that was really done, I think, to appease Mike Brown. Yep, we'll look at it. Nothing to see here. Let's move on. The idea that Wemby he got away with one. He did. That should have been a foul. That could also have been a foul on Keldon on that play. Spurs, they got away with that. And again, the Knicks have gotten away with stuff. That's just basketball. That's the way it goes. The officials the other night let the physical play happen. And, kind of felt like, 80s, 90s basketball, but they were letting them play until Luke Cornett trucked Josh Hart. Then they adjusted, and they were calling things a little bit tighter. And then you get Alvarado, who came off the bench the other night after Luke Cornett trucked Jalen Brunson or Josh Hart. And now, you listen to his comments about Wemby pushing down Jalen Brunson, that little friendly shove. That ain't going to happen again. So is Wemby a target?
Some of those plays, I don't think they basketball plays, but like I said, when in the games, it's, those type of games in atmosphere, you miss calls, stuff like that. So, they can't call everything. But like I said, we be all right. That's something that, they got to look at. But he got away with one, so that'd be the last one.
He got away with one. That'll be the last one. That's not basketball. I mean, when you hear that from Jose Alvarado, he got away with one. You wonder, will there be, and again, when I say targeting, it's not like there's going to be a hit, but I do expect some physical play early targeted toward Wemby. I don't think you're going to see Karl Anthony Towns put him in a headlock and give him a noogie or anything like that or do anything cheap, but they are going to be physical. You saw what Hartenstein was able to do to Wemby in the Western Conference Finals, and they didn't call it, and he kept playing physical because if they're not going to call it, you've got to keep doing it. That's where I'm curious to see how quick the whistle is going to be tonight. Are the refs going to let this be a very physical game, or are they going to be calling everything, and then the players are going to have to adjust on the fly? I hate the fact that the refs are going to be a part of this story, but they are. That's just the way it goes. 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. What are your concerns, your thoughts heading into tonight's Game 4? Be a part of the show and let me know. Again, 656-3776. You can get me on Twitter at Jason Minnix or a comment there on the YouTube page. Go to sasportstar.com and click through the YouTube page. And I said it, this group is confident, maybe borderline cocky. Just hear what Steph Castle had to say. We'll let you do that. Coming up here on the Blitz, live at the Dog Haus Beirgarten in Stone Oak on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
You know what? With summertime being here, it is a great time to get out the golf clubs, get your friends together, and go play golf out at the Golf Club of Texas. It is a fantastic place to have a great day with your family, with your friends, whoever you want to go out there and play golf with. It's a perfect place. And in fact, with all the recent rains, that golf course is in excellent shape. It looks fantastic. In fact, you're going to think it's a private country club. It's not, though. It is open to the public 7 days a week. So you can go out there anytime. Doesn't have to be on the weekend. How about a Monday or Tuesday or any day that ends in Y for that matter? When you go out there hungry, though. You got to have lunch out at the Tin Cup Bar and Grill. That place is phenomenal. They've got all the best food out there. They can make you pretty much whatever you want, and it's not going to break the bank. Not to mention the fact they've got a full bar out there. Any kind of cocktail you want, they'll whip it up for you, plus a huge selection of ice-cold beer. The Golf Club of Texas, you know where it is. It's right there off Briggs Ranch Road off Highway 90. Whether it's for dinner at the Tin Cup or round with your buddies, your next tournament, go check them out. Best rates always online at golfclubtexas.com. The Golf Club of Texas is the friendliest golf course in Texas.
Healthy vision is about more than seeing clearly. It's about going beyond. From comprehensive eye care with the latest technology to advanced vision solutions that provide deep insights into your overall health. And with doctors who build lasting relationships founded on trust, ensuring that every detail is taken care of. I choose Vision Source to never miss out on life's precious moments. Vision Source, beyond your eyes.
At Fisher Investments, we may seem like other money managers, but we're different.
Are you really that different than the rest of us?
We are. As a fiduciary, we always focus on what's best for our clients.
What services do you offer besides investing?
We have a team of specialists in financial planning, estate planning, and more.
Your clients rely on you for all that?
Yes, we ensure clients receive unparalleled service at every step of the relationship.
Okay, but you still sell commission-based products, right?
No, because we believe that's a conflict of interest. We prioritize service over sales goals.
So then how do your fees work?
We have a simple and transparent fee that's a percentage of our clients' portfolios. So we do better when our clients do better.
Wow, we're more different than I thought.
At Fisher Investments, we're clearly different. Learn more at fisherinvestments.com.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. I don't know if you knew this, but anyone can get the same premium wireless for $15 a month plan that I've been enjoying. It's not just for celebrities. So do like I did and have one of your assistants switch you to Mint Mobile today.
Visit mintmobile.com/radio.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. Intro rate first 3 months only, then full price plan options available. Taxes and fees extra. See full terms at mintmobile.com.
As a fitness coach, my active psoriatic arthritis can slow me down. With Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, I'm treating my skin and joint symptoms so I can keep moving. Skyrizi, a prescription-only injection for adults, helps me move with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. And for those who have plaque psoriasis, 90% clearer skin is possible. With Skyrizi, there's no daily dosing. It's just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement. And that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi. Visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZI to learn more.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job in ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
ZipRecruiter. Got a buddy who thinks he knows baseball? Perfect. On Rangers game days, prove it with the Morning Huddle's Rangers Double Dinger Payday. Pick the Ranger you think will launch it out of here. He hits 1, you and a friend are headed to a Rangers game. He hits 2. Now, you've got tickets and hotel. Yeah, you're making a night of it, and your buddy's buying the first round. Wake up with the Morning Huddle. Call your shot and win the Morning Huddle's Rangers Double Dinger Payday. 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star, South Texas home of the Texas Rangers, the Spurs, and the Knicks. This is where you come to talk about the finals. 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Well played, James Pledger. Well played. It is the Blitz here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. I'm Jason Minnix, live out at the Dog Haus Beirgarten in Stone Oak. Joe Reinigal on vacation, and James Pledger's playing Blink 182 for a reason, because during the commercial break, he saw the video that we just posted on Instagram at SA Sports Star, where you can see a little bit of the lunch that we had here at the Dog Haus Beirgarten. Now, granted, I can tell you now, pro tip, you guys want to save money, don't come in here and think you're going to order 2 dogs and a side. You ain't going to finish that. And if you do, we're going to judge you. But in reality, we are. They're laughing at me over there, but, we will. Now, granted, they want you to order more because your bill is going to be more and your tip should be bigger. But your tip should always be bigger anyway. And that kind of goes with James Pledger playing all the small things, because, now, granted, we're talking about dogs and sausages, and, we're a bunch of 8th graders, right? And he was like, boy, there's nothing small in that picture.
Onion hula hoops.
Onion hula hoops is there, but you were talking about sausages. And I just it was just kind of funny. But yeah, I mean, size matters, and let's just say that I doubt most of you are going to finish 2 of these hot dogs or sausages, and either the onion rings or the loaded tater tots or whatever it is you get.
I love wieners.
I know Joe Reiniger would try and he would fail. I just know him well. I mean, did you finish yours? All of it? Yeah.
I finished all of it.
Oh, you finished all of it?
Yeah.
And the fries?
Yeah.
Are you full?
I'm full now, yeah.
Uh-huh. I don't know that you finished all of it. I did it hit the spot. What do you have, chili cheese and onions?
Chili cheese and onions. It was what's it called there?
I don't know what it's called.
The Chili Idol.
The Chili Idol. I had the Cowboy. Of course, Dak Prescott, who is talking today. We will hear from the Cowboys quarterback coming up, who was also talking today about the San Antonio Spurs.
Yeah, I've definitely seen it. Definitely pulling for them. Obviously, not only because of that, but because of Texas as well. It was just super cool. I mean, obviously, I got sent to me numbers of times from different people, but it was funny. Obviously, they added their own mix into it. Yeah, they've got some good hips, and hopefully it gets some game 4.
You know, and you hope that it gets some game 4. And I know some of you are going to say, oh, man, the Spurs are screwed because now Dak Prescott is on their side. And they were doing the Dak Prescott hip thing, which is funny. But I'm glad. I mean, you look at a guy like Dak, all in on everything Texas. For him to say that he's rooting for the Spurs, knowing that he's living there in Mavericks country, could be a PR disaster for a guy who is very PR savvy. But I'm sure he appreciates the other teams doing it. He doesn't do it to be funny. Apparently it works from an athletic standpoint, but it is kind of funny to see, and seeing the Spurs do it is even funnier. But you go with it. But you look at tonight's game and how this game is going to go. You know, we've had 3 close games. The Knicks are favored tonight by 2.5. So you've got a couple of things. That one, home team is yet to win. The favored team in each game has yet to win. So the Knicks are at home and the Knicks are favored. Now, it's happened once before where the road team won the first 3 games, but the road team has never won the first 4 games. So the Spurs could make some history tonight if they're able to get a win. The question is, how are they going to do it? Wemby, I think, has to be Wemby. He has to dominate the inside. He has to be, dare I say, better than he was the other night in Game 3, where he was phenomenal. You know, high percentage shots. He only took 4 3-pointers in the game, made 2 of them, and he was dunking the basketball. The Spurs made some adjustments, and with those adjustments, Wemby was a lot freer in the paint. You expect the New York Knicks and Mike Brown and that coaching staff to come up with a plan to where they could try to keep Wemby out of the paint. And I do expect them to be very physical with Victor tonight. So, somebody else is going to have to step up and make those shots. I would like it to be De'Aaron Fox. I expect great things from Dylan Harper. Vassell's got to knock some shots down. So does Steph Castle. Steph Castle has just been phenomenal throughout, especially on the defensive end. And that dude, he is confident, and I think in a lot of ways does set a bit of a tone for the team. He sat down with Malika Andrews and talked about how this team expects to win the next 3 games.
Yeah, definitely. I expect us to win the next 3, but us just taking it game by game, quarter by quarter, and trying to walk this thing down. Like I said, those first 2 games really hurt. And I feel like it was an eye-opener for us. We don't want it to be that way. We want to, punch first and be on the front foot. But, that's the reality of it now. So just trying to take it game by game. But, yeah, we definitely expect to come into tomorrow and come out of here with a win.
And again, I appreciate the confidence, and I get where it's coming from. And we've seen that from this team, where when facing adversity, kind of like when they were down against Oklahoma City, they came out and they played their best basketball. What is it about this team being so young that once they're facing that adversity, because obviously they don't want to be down in the series 0-2, now 2 games to 1, but they're not fazed by it. Where, again, you look at Philadelphia and Cleveland in the Eastern Conference playoffs, when those teams got down, they quit. I mean, they just seem to flat out quit, and you're not seeing that from this Spurs team. You think about, while we didn't expect it in Game 3, being a young team in New York, if the bright lights were too big for them at Madison Square Garden on Monday night, I don't know that many of us would have been overly surprised. Disappointed, yes. Maybe a little surprised, but not overly surprised if they were to quit. Quite honestly, after they had the great start in the first quarter and gave it away and trailed at halftime, I was curious to see what they were going to be coming out of the locker room at the end of the third quarter. And obviously, they came out. Third quarters have been an issue for this Spurs team. They didn't come out down, that they let their lead get away and that they trailed at halftime. And then in the fourth quarter, every time the Knicks made a play down the stretch, which we know the Knicks are going to do, the Spurs were able to answer. Again, De'Aaron Fox, not a great game shooting, kind of like Jalen Brunson, hasn't been great in this series shooting percentage-wise, but when they need a clutch shot made, Jalen Brunson has delivered. Well, Steph Castle had that big three the other night. De'Aaron Fox was solid down the stretch, and that's what this team is going to need tonight, having those big plays in the big moments. Although part of me feels like there's going to be a blowout at some point, right? I mean, when you have 3 games that have all been tight, and I know game 1 ended up being a double-digit win for the Knicks, 105-95. The reality is that was a tight game until about 2 minutes to go. You had a 1-point game, and then the Spurs ended up winning by 4 the other night. So the last 2 games decided by 5 points. And in game 1 was a 1-point game with 2 minutes to play. They're a lot more evenly matched than I think a lot of us knew or thought coming into the series. So what's going to give tonight? You look at Jalen Brunson. At some point, don't you expect Jalen Brunson to have one of those big games? Brunson ball where and again, if he scores 25, 30 points on, 25, 32, 33 shots, I'm fine with that. I mean, if he scores, 35 points on 13 shots, the Spurs are going to get blown out. I want the high volume shooting from Jalen Brunson. And the Spurs have done a great job of them playing Brunson ball, which isn't necessarily a good thing because he's not getting his teammates involved. I was shocked that Karl Anthony Towns only had 10 shots the other night in game 3. That dude was the MVP for the first 2 games of this series, and he was MIA the other night. And I think Keldon Johnson, and a lot of us have bitched about Keldon Johnson not playing like the 6th man of the year, and offensively he hasn't. Keldon hasn't been great offensively in this postseason, but I thought his defense when he was in the game on Cat was really good at defense. That is going to have to continue tonight. And, you just kind of go from there. OG killed the Spurs the other night. Karl Anthony Towns did not. This Shamet. All right, the Spurs have to make sure that, one of those guys can have a really good game. 2 or 3 of those guys can't have a really good game. And if that happens, then it's going to be a 2-2 series with game 5 Saturday night in San Antonio. And now it's a best of 3, and the Spurs will have regained home court advantage. If there really is an advantage, because so far in the finals, home court has not been an advantage. I just know it's going to be a fun game tonight. 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776 is the phone number on Twitter, at Jason Minnix. You can also comment on our YouTube page and vote in our poll. Get to YouTube through sasportstar.com. Right now, most important Spur, not named Wemby for game 4 tonight. De'Aaron Fox leading the way with 42% of the vote. Steph Castle is at 35%. Dylan Harper at 14%. And Devin Vassell at 9%. And I'm a little surprised that Devin Vassell is only at 9%. Now, again, most important, I get it. But Devin Vassell has been fantastic. He has been so consistent in not only the Western Conference Finals, but for the Spurs here in the NBA Finals. And the Spurs certainly need him to be consistent. For me, I voted for De'Aaron Fox in the poll just because while he doesn't feel like he's struggling because he's getting the shots that he wants, he's getting to his spot, he's got to be able to knock those down. I know you might say you've got the right shot, but we're judging you on how many of those shots you made. So in my mind, De'Aaron Fox is not having a good series. I'm sure he feels better about himself by saying, I'm getting the looks, I've just got to knock him down. And that's the shooter mentality that a guy like De'Aaron Fox has to have. If you're getting to your spot and you're confident in your stroke and you're not frustrated that they're not going in, that's probably a good thing for you. For the rest of us, dude, make your damn shots. As much money as you're making, put that ball in the back bucket. That's what you're supposed to be doing. 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. We'll take your calls as we continue here on The Blitz, live at the Dog Haus Beirgarten in Stone Oak, right off of Stone Oak Parkway and at 281. You can't miss us. You know, across the highway on your way down to TPC San Antonio. A lot of you know where this place is at. You've probably driven by it. Now it's time for you to stop in because this is a fun doghouse to be in. And there's lots of reasons why you want to come see us here. Your calls as we continue here on The Blitz on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Let me tell you about my good friends at Stevens Roofing. Love talking about Stevens Roofing. Great family, locally owned company, a company that's been in business here in San Antonio and South Texas since 1983. That should really tell you everything you need to know about Stevens Roofing and Solar. And I tell you what, with all the recent rains that we've had, you might want them to check your roof to make sure that everything is okay, because I'm not sure these storms are over. Either way, you need to get it checked out before small problems turn into big problems. Here's what you do. You call Stevens Roofing and Solar, 210-785-0994. They're going to send an experienced team out to your house. They'll inspect your roof. They'll do it for free, and they'll let you know if everything is okay or if there are some things that need to be taken care of. Stevens Roofing and Solar, the absolute best in the business, 210-785-0994, or you can visit them online at stevensroofing.net.
Eczema, eczema, eczema. So many ads for eczema products. But those fancy TV ads don't mention that those prescription products can cost thousands of dollars. There's a smarter way. It's Exoderm for eczema and dermatitis. Exoderm costs less than $20. Yep, less than $20. You don't need a prescription, and it's available on the first aid aisle of your local store. Exoderm contains the #1 doctor-recommended ingredient in a clean, hypoallergenic cream with no harsh additives or nasty chemicals. Exoderm. Fast, effective relief from the itching and inflammation of eczema. This stuff really does work. Take back control. Heal eczema flares with soothing Exoderm Flare Control Cream. It's on the first aid aisle of your local drugstore, supermarket, and at Target and Walmart too. Exoderm for eczema. Now that's smart.
Here it comes. Surprise! There's an avocado shortage! Now half your food truck menu is costing more than it's making you! Also, you're out of napkins!
Those aren't cheap! Progressive knows small business owners usually don't like surprises because they cost you money. But a good surprise, saving 13% on commercial auto insurance when you pay in full.
Also, an ice cream truck stole your parking spot! Looks like you're in a turf war!
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 8 minutes at progressivecommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Discounts not available in all states or situations.
Hey, Joy. Oh, you are glowing.
Oh, hey, more like Mirajoyed. That Miralax helped me go. I was so backed up. Tried mega coffees, prune juice, everything. Then Miralax. And hello, gentle relief without the harsh side effects.
Ooh, how does it work?
It works naturally with the water in your body for constipation relief. Find Miralax today at your local retailer.
Use as directed for occasional constipation.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from IQ Bar. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at eatiqbar.com/policy/terms of service.
I've got good news and bad news. Here's the bad news. Most protein bars are packed with sugar and unpronounceable ingredients. The good news? There's a better option. I'm Will, and I created IQ Bar plant protein bars to empower doers like you with clean, delicious, low-sugar brain and body fuel. IQ Bars are packed with 12 grams of protein, brain nutrients like magnesium and lion's mane, and zero weird stuff. And right now, you can get 20% off all IQ Bar products plus free shipping. Clean ingredients, amazing taste, and you'll love how you feel. Refuel smarter, hydrate harder, caffeinate larger with IQ Bar.
Try our delicious IQ Bar sampler pack with 9 plant protein bars, 8 hydration mixes, and 4 mushroom coffee sticks. And now you can get 20% off all IQ Bar products plus free shipping when you text radio to 64,000. Text radio to 64,000 to get your 20% off. That's radio to 64,000.
Jake from State Farm. I just beat my running PR, so I'm celebrating with the Banana Bonanza smoothie.
Hey, and you can keep celebrating when you create an affordable price just for you by bundling your home and auto with the State Farm Personal Price Plan. Go bananas.
I will. Hey, make it a large.
Bundling, just another way to save with the Personal Price Plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
San Antonio, the Toros are back. 2-0 on the season. 2 wins, 2 shutouts. Defensive coordinator Jerry Glanville. Yes, that Jerry Glanville has the defense playing great and overshadowing the high-scoring offense. The Toros are back in action this Sunday against the Tall City Black Gold. Kickoff is at 7 p.m. at the Wheatley Heights Sports Complex. Family-friendly with the Kids Zone. Tailgating starts at 3. Get your tickets now for this Sunday's game at COFLToros.com. Join the Stampede. Vamos, Toros!
It's the Morning Huddle with AJ Hoffman and Rob Thompson.
Coming up on the Morning Huddle, the series headed back to San Antonio. How the Spurs looking going into Game 5? Do they need to win 2 straight or 3 straight? We'll talk about how they got there and what they got to do. Get here early. The party starts at 6.
It's the Morning Huddle with AJ Hoffman and Rob Thompson. Morning 6 to 10 on 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star. San Antonio and New York. This is where you come to talk about the finals. 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
It is where you come to talk about the NBA Finals. Game 4 tonight. It is the Blitz here on 94.1 at San Antonio Sports Star, live at the Dog Haus Beirgarten in Stone Oak, right off Stone Oak Parkway and at 281. Great place to come hang out, grab some lunch, a late lunch, early dinner, cold beer. I got a full bar as well. Come hang out with us and then get ready to watch the game tonight here at the Dog Haus. And I know a pledge just got a Twitter DM saying, Ryan Eagle, who is on vacation, needs to stay out of the country for the rest of the series. In fact, they should detain him. Now, here's the thing with Joe. I was texting with him yesterday, and he might need a liver transplant by the time he comes back. And I look, Joe Ryan Eagle and I have been really good friends for a long time. And whatever gibberish he was texting last night told me he was in a really good mood because the typos were far more than normal, which I would expect at 11 o'clock at night when he is in Mexico. But again, when you look at that, I mean, look, he's coming back Saturday, and he has to. He'll be here Monday because then I'm leaving to go to another beach in another country, so I'll be leaving the country but able to watch the game. Caden, our engineer, he was just showing me photos. He watched tried to watch the first couple games on the cruise ship that he was on, which actually, for Game 2, outside on one of those big screens on a cruise ship, the picture he took looks fantastic. That would be pretty awesome.
I feel like going to an actual game.
Yeah, but during Game 1, they were having technical issues. And again, most people on the cruise aren't there to watch TV, so I get them having some cable issues. But all these resorts in other countries have a sport bar, and you're going to be able to watch the game and have fun. Cruise ship wouldn't be bad. Although, and no offense to people that like to go on cruises, I'm not one of those. I get it, but I can't. I am not I've gone on a cruise, and maybe it's because I was in the Navy. I've spent plenty of time on the water, that part of it. But when I'm on vacation like that, like Ryan Eagle's at a resort in Mexico. I will be at a resort in the Grand Caymans next week. You were on a cruise ship. You were on a schedule. And when I'm on vacation like that, I don't want to be on a schedule. When we did that cruise, it was like, all right, your dinner is here or here. If you don't get it, you're screwed. All right, you get off the boat. You're here. You got 7 hours, and we'll leave without you. I don't want to wake up early and have to. I want to be able to get up when I get up and start drinking as soon as I get up and go to bed when cruises to me, and I know people that love them. It ain't for me. Been there, done that. You kind of go with it. Most important Spur not named Wemby in Game 4 tonight. De'Aaron Fox, 41%. That is our YouTube poll. Steph Castle at 34, Harper at 15, Devin Vassell at 10. And a lot of comments on YouTube, so I've got to scroll up to find the one that I was looking for. So, dude, I'm not going to give you the credit because I'm not scrolling that far. But a great point made. Steph Castle has got to be the most important Spur tonight, not named Wemby, because of the way he plays defense. And he is so physical on the defensive end. He's that get-in-your-face kind of guy that if the refs are calling everything tonight, he could end up in foul trouble early. And if he's in foul trouble, he's going to be on the bench. Good news, you insert Dylan Harper. But you need a Steph Castle and his defense tonight. You think about the Minnesota series, and quite frankly, even the Portland series, where he was getting in the foul trouble early. We didn't see that as much, obviously, in the Western Conference Finals, and we haven't seen it here yet in the NBA Finals because he has been playing very smart basketball. But if they've got a quick whistle tonight, it could affect his defensive style, which is going to be interesting. Now, Steph Castle sat down yesterday with Malika Andrews, and while he's confident, she asked him, how do you come out for Game 4 tonight with the same intensity you had in Game 3?
I think just still using the same fuel and fire from those first 2 games that dropped. Obviously, those games hurt. But, just try not to get satisfied with this one win. I don't know if you saw us after the game. None of us really celebrated or, got too excited. We kind of just walked back to the locker room. And I think that's just, like I said, the maturity of our team. When things matter, we all want to win. We don't care who really puts the ball in the basket, who gets the numbers. We all just want to win. So, just trying to stick with it, like I said, and not get satisfied with just one win, knowing we came here to get 2.
Well, and they came there to get 2. And again, I like the answer, and he's right. Although, honestly, if they would have celebrated too much, we would have all been like, dude, you're still down in the series. What are you doing? And they were hammered a little bit for over-celebrating the Western Conference Finals win over Oklahoma City. Now, you could debate that. We're all Spurs fans. I didn't mind the celebration. You look at baseball players, every series win, they're popping champagne and dog piles and all that kind of stuff. The job wasn't done, but the Spurs getting by Oklahoma City, they acted like they had just won the championship. And maybe in their minds, like a lot of Spurs fans, you felt like the Western Conference Finals was the true NBA Finals. And then Nick said, hold my beer. So maybe, he talks about this young team showing their maturity. Maybe they read and saw some of that, and they were like, yeah, you know what, you're right, especially when you fell down 0-2. Yet, as Steph was able to tell Malika Andrews yesterday, even though they were down 0-2, they were confident as they stepped on the floor before Game 3.
I think just the way we lost is exactly the way that they like to play, and we let them be too comfortable in that. And we gave them too many opportunities, especially in those first 2 games with, offensive rebounds, not making an extra effort, giving them a wide open shot in the late clock. I thought we did a lot of good things in those first 2 games, even though we didn't really play well as a whole. And we were still able to, come out with those games, very close games at the end. So, I don't think our confidence ever wavered, in those moments. But, going down 0-2 isn't really ideal, especially knowing you're going on the road next. But I think with the group that we have and what we've shown all year, I don't got nothing but confidence in them.
What's that saying? Don't let us get 1?
Yeah, don't let us get 1.
And now they have the 1. Can they get 2 tonight? Now, that's why it kind of feels like it's a must-win game for both teams. Now, I know, definition, not a must-win game. But you look at tonight's game, with it being 2-1, Spurs win, Game 5 is really Game 1 of a best-of-3, and the Spurs regain home court advantage. If the Knicks win tonight, they know that they're going to have an opportunity to celebrate on the Spurs home floor. I know I'm going to go to Game 5 on a Saturday night, and I would much rather be in the situation of not risking seeing the Knicks celebrate. Bottom line. And that's why it feels like both teams better show up tonight with that must-win attitude. New York was on that 13-game playoff win streak, and that got snapped. All the excitement, all the hoopla about them having a finals game at MSG for the first time in 27 years. They're up 2-0. They were thinking sweep. We've talked to enough people in New York where the greeting had turned into Knicks in 4, which is crap, which, now they've just adjusted Knicks in 5. And I hope the Spurs can go in there and shut them up one more time. And to do that, Steph Castle is going to have to play a huge role. And he has. His defense on Jalen Brunson has been phenomenal.
I think just being physical in every play and staying consistent with it, whether they call it or not, knowing that, this magnitude of a game, they can't call, every foul. I feel like both teams are getting fouled pretty much every time down. But, just trying to stay physical with it, but be smart and understand what they're looking at. It's a filling out process for majority of the first half. And then, once you kind of realize how the refs are calling it, you kind of you want to play, but still make it tough.
And you hear that from Steph Castle in his sit down with Malika Andrews on ESPN, that how the refs are calling it. And I do think the refs are going to be a big part of tonight's game because of all the stuff that you heard yesterday after Wemby got away with one with that little shove on Jalen Brunson, and it was reviewed. Nothing to see here. The refs, the NBA finally late last night said, yep, we're not going to upgrade that to a flagrant. Wemby did get away with one. And with everything that Mike Brown said afterwards, he was working the refs in that press conference. And you hear Steph Castle, they've got to see how the refs are going to call it. The other night in Game 3, they were letting those boys play. It was a physical game, and then they tightened up a little bit late. The Spurs adjusted to that. Steph Castle has to stay out of foul trouble tonight. And can he stay out of foul trouble and maintain that physical style of play defensively that he has had on Jalen Brunson? And Brunson, again, you look at his shooting percentage in this series, it hasn't been great. He has scored a ton of points, but his shooting percentage has been awful. So when you look at it from that angle, I am curious to see how this crew calls this game tonight, because that could go a long way in determining how it's going to be. And I see some of the comments on our YouTube page about the dudes leaving the bench. I don't even know if the NBA reviewed that. I mean, it seems so subjective. In my mind, 4 players left the bench. You could see them. OG was one of them. Alvarado was one of them. Jordan Clarkson was one of them. And then some dude that doesn't matter. But in reality, they left the floor when that little fracas started, or they left the bench area and came onto the floor. Apparently, they adjusted the rules, and I'm not sure when, to where it's not an automatic suspension, and it's at the discretion. And because I'm assuming, went to play peacemaker and nothing really happened, there's no suspensions or fines coming for those boys. And look, as Spurs fans, we could say it, but honestly, when I saw it happen live, I wasn't thinking suspension. I'm just, all right, good playoff basketball. Let them play physical. Let them keep playing physical. I'm liking this, and nothing to see here. And I think that's how the NBA wanted it. And you also look at like Wemby getting upgraded to a flagrant. When you look at the ratings that this final series is doing, and it's not just because they're playing New York in New York, but Wemby is such a global superstar, they're not going to go back and upgrade that. They're not, and risk him getting suspended. Remember, because he's got that flagrant 2 from the elbow. And again, that was early in the game. You've already kind of served a 1-game suspension. They're not going to add another game to it. That's the bottom line. And I would have been shocked had they, and boy, had they, the calls that would be coming in about the league just wanting the New York Knicks to win a championship would be all over the place. I mean, we know that. So you look at tonight's game, for the Spurs to get this series even, Wemby has to get going early and play inside out. If he can dominate in the paint like he did in Game 3, then the Spurs are going to be able to stay in control, and everything else is going to fall into place. I mean, that really is the bottom line. I mean, you look at obviously, I mean, Game 3, Wemby was 8 of 11. I don't have the box score in front of me. 8 of 11, had 32 points, and he only took 4 3-pointers in the game. And while Mitch Johnson can say they don't tell him not to take threes, if they could say, dude, no more than 2 a quarter, I'd be happy with 1 a quarter, but I know he likes to take those. If you're really feeling it, if you make one, you could take another one. But 1 a quarter, he needs to live down in the paint. I do expect the Knicks to come up with some ways to try to keep him out of that. And, they didn't turn the ball over at all, really, in Game 3. That's going to be key. But getting turnovers, like they were able to get the Knicks to turn it over in Games 1 and 2 here, but the Spurs weren't able to turn that in the offense. You go back and you look at their points off of turnovers, that was huge. Rebounding should be better for the San Antonio Spurs, but we'll see how they're able to do that. And obviously their defense. And if whatever they did with Karl Anthony Towns the other night, that formula certainly seemed to work and go from there. And like we've seen in all of these games so far, they're all tight games. All 3 have been tight games in the fourth quarter. In San Antonio, it was the Knicks that made clutch plays down the stretch. And you know what? In Game 3 in New York, the Knicks made a lot of clutch shots down the stretch. The difference was the Spurs were able to answer with clutch buckets of their own. There were a couple of opportunities there where you thought, man, the Knicks just made a big shot. Spurs better make one, and they were able to make that shot. Steph Castle's 3 was huge, and that's not generally a shot you expect from Steph Castle in that moment. So I think the first 3 quarters are just going to be a lot of fun, good back and forth basketball. And like we've seen in the first 3 games, who's ever making the big time plays in the big time moments of the fourth quarter is going to walk off the Madison Square Garden floor with the Game 4 win. So you kind of look at all of that and you go from there and you say, all right, can they continue to get this done in that kind of way? And for the Spurs, that's going to be the key. Stay out of foul trouble, go from there, and they will be in really good shape. And, obviously, Vic has to have a big-time Victor Wembanyama type of game and go from there. So, that's what it goes to. There you go, Pledge. That's what it is. Most important Spur not named Wemby is our poll question at sasportstar.com. De'Aaron Fox, Steph Castle lead the way, then Dylan Harper and Devin Vassell. You've got time to get in there and get your poll or answer the poll question. You can also comment there on the YouTube page as well. Should be a pretty wild game tonight. I'm so looking forward to it and feeling good. The fact that the Knicks are 2.5-point favorites, and that seems about right where that line is. And I haven't checked it since we went on the air at 2 o'clock. I'm not sure what kind of movement we have had since then. So we'll see what happens, and we will go from there. Figure it out. Pledge, it looks like you keep trying to say something.
Oh, no, I just, it says 1.5-point favorites, Knicks.
So it went down, so the line has moved.
1.5-point favorites, 215.5, and yeah, money line Knicks minus 131, Spurs plus 110.
It's interesting when you see the line moving that way and what that means. I'm, at 2.5, and it was at 2.5 early this morning. It was at 2.5 around 1 o'clock. So, as we get closer to game time, that money coming in and the line coming down a full point seems kind of interesting. So something to watch for as you continue to get ready for the game tonight, which will tip off at 7:30. Watch it with us here at Dog Haus Beirgarten in Stone Oak, right off Stone Oak Parkway and 281. Coming up at 3:35, we'll talk with former Spur, former NBA player, won a championship here. A good friend, Devin Brown, will join us to talk about the game. We'll also talk with former Spur broadcaster Bill Schoening coming up at 4:35, and then Don Harris, who is at Madison Square Garden. He'll join us on Game Night San Antonio at 5:35. Cowboys, Dak Prescott, we got some news to talk about as well. Coming up here on the Blitz on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. Coming up on Saturday, the San Antonio Gunslingers have a home game. Freeman Coliseum, they're taking on the New Mexico Chupacabras. Great indoor football. Obviously, it's indoors. Weather's not a factor. And indoor football is so much fun. Great for the entire family. But if you're a football fan, you're going to get the big hits, the players that are hitting the boards, receivers sometimes, defensive backs end up in the crowd. If the football goes to the crowd, you catch it, you get to keep it. It's really cool stuff. Bone-crushing hits, just fun football, great entertainment. Get your tickets now, sagunslingers.com. Saturday afternoon, 4 o'clock kickoff. So you get plenty of time to go to the Gunslingers game and be wherever it is you're going to be for Game 5 on Saturday night. Think about that. Little indoor football in the afternoon, and then Game 5 of the NBA Finals at night. Get your tickets now, sagunslingers.com. That's sagunslingers.com.
You're riding with the Blitz. Afternoons 2 to 6, KTFM Floresville. And everywhere at sasportstar.com.
Hi, everybody. Joe Reinigle here for Window Nation. It is June. Summer is here along with those hot summer days. And that means constant AC use and high energy bills. It is time to upgrade your home's windows this month during Window Nation's Buy 4, Get 4 free sale. Imagine replacing all your windows with new energy efficient ones and getting half of them for free. Plus, you could even get them with no money down and no monthly payment or interest for 2 years. Don't wait to put an end to your window problems. Sale ends soon, so visit windownation.com to book that consultation.
My name is John. I could not lose the weight I needed to. The Institute for Functional Health Wellness Program was the answer. It included a great deal of testing, supplements, and weekly face-to-face doctor visits. I finally had the accountability I needed. I am now 50 pounds lighter. I no longer have pain in my elbow, back, and hips. I have more energy and just feel and look so much better.
Call for your complimentary consultation, 210-468-1891. I'm Dr. Torres at the Institute for Functional Health.
When snack time calls, Pork Rinds answers. Be your own crunch time hero with Southern Recipe small batch pork rinds. Skip the chip and go straight for the ultimate crunch that's low carb, high protein, and loaded with bold flavor. We're talking sweet barbecue or hot honey. Yeah, it's that good. Snack smarter, crunch harder. Stock up on Southern Recipe small batch pork rinds at H-E-B or head to porkrinds.com. Make Southern Recipe your crunch time hero.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/radio right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
Baseball fans, check out the inaugural season of the San Antonio River Monsters, part of the TCL, a wood bat league featuring some of the best college players. A monster-sized good time for the entire family. Get your tickets today at rivermonstersbaseball.com.
Watch every Team USA World Cup match at Social Spot. Enjoy great screens, great food, snacks, ice-cold beer, and the best World Cup atmosphere in San Antonio. Join the party at 930 Broadway. Social Spot in San Antonio Sports Star, your headquarters for the 2026 World Cup watch parties.
What does it mean to work with one of the largest personal injury law firms in Texas? At Thomas J. Henry, it means we can take cases all the way to trial when others would have accepted a low settlement offer. It means Thomas J. Henry can put our team of legal minds, investigators, and medical experts to work for you. It means you get personal attention and access to our team when you need us. Visit thomasjhenrylaw.com. Thomas J. Henry, the name you know, the firm you trust. Principal Office, San Antonio.
This summer, the Honey Pepper Pimento Chicken Sandwich and Pineapple Dragon Fruit and Sprite are back at Chick-fil-A.
Girl, it's back. We've been waiting. I love that honey pepper pimento sandwich.
And that pineapple dragon fruit and Sprite is everything. It's got that razzle dazzle that makes you stop and say, okay, wait a minute.
I love the creaminess of the pimento cheese. It's savory, it's bold, it's flavorful.
Our faves are back. I saw, girl.
Which fan favorite will you choose? Real customers paid for their testimonials.
San Antonio's Sports Center.
No flagrant upgrade for Victor Wembanyama after a reviewing of his shove for Jalen Brunson in Game 3. Game 4 is tonight from New York. The Spurs trail the Knicks 2-1. Tip-off set for 7:30. That game will be televised on ABC. While Texas Tech AD Kirby Hocutt has released a statement backing Brennan Swordsby.
Sports Center brought to you by SAPDcareers.com. The San Antonio Police Department is always hiring.
From the studios of San Antonio's Sports Star, reaching more sports fans than any station in South Texas. Welcome to the Blitz. 2 decades on the radio, Jason Minnix. 2 decades on TV, Joe Reinagle. 2 San Antonio sports voices you've trusted for years. This is the Blitz on 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
It is the Blitz here on 94.1 at San Antonio Sports Star. Joe Reinagle on vacation. I'm Jason Minnix. We are live today at the Dog Haus Beirgarten on Stone Oak Parkway, Stone Oak and 281. This is where it's okay to be in the Dog Haus. Where being in the Dog Haus is fun. So come hang out with us. Get a beer, get a great hot dog. They got great burgers. And I say that I haven't actually had their burgers, but we had their dogs earlier today. The sides were good. Come hang out with us. Plenty of TVs to watch tonight's Game 4 of the NBA Finals. James Pledger, I hope you clip that little flub of yours just now, and we can turn that into a drop. Because the way you tried to say Victor's name sounded like how Reinagle would sound about now on the beach in Mexico. But what did you say?
He's had a little bit more than I have.
Well, clearly, but you sounded like you've had quite a few. How does Victor's name just not roll off the tongue at this point? When he first got drafted, or we were talking about him coming to San Antonio, would have made a lot of sense. But whatever just happened there, come on, man, that's got to turn into a drop. But I understand. It's 100 degrees in the studio.
Hector Banana Bread?
I'm told that the ACs are finally fixed and the air is cooling off in the studio. Is that true?
It's getting better.
Well, what does better mean?
Not 90s.
All right. Well, I mean, I guess that is better. But you are wearing a suit and tie for whatever reason, knowing that it's going to be 1,000 degrees in there.
I was told to look nice today.
No, you weren't.
I was.
No.
Dax came in here yesterday and told me to make sure I look nice.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Because we got a suit in town from corporate. But why would he tell that to you and nobody else in the building? I mean, I saw AJ today. I'm wearing shorts and a golf shirt. But you are always in a suit. I can't imagine that our suit, because of corporate suits in town, told you to wear a suit.
He told me to look nice. Because there's one of two ways I will come into this place.
Oh, well, that's true. You can't look like you just rolled out of bed and you're wearing your pajamas. I guess that is true. You are the one person. Everybody else is consistent. You don't know what you're getting. Although I was impressed that the suit showed up today just wearing jeans and a golf shirt.
I haven't seen him yet.
He's wearing jeans and a golf shirt. He doesn't look like a suit, which is a good thing.
You think they prepped him?
For you?
No, for the conditions.
You mean that there's no air conditioning in the building? He's coming in from Connecticut. I would hope not. It's like, hey, you're bringing in a suit. Can we get some dollars to fix this crap? And no offense, but the air conditioner here at the Dog Haus works really good. I wish I was wearing a long sleeve shirt because it's cold in here. All in the good ways. Not that I'm trying to tease you at all, Pledge.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Not at all. Come hang out with us here at the Dog Haus Beirgarten in Stone Oak and get ready for tonight's big game 4. A lot of Spurs talk coming up. In fact, Devin Brown will join us in about 30 minutes from right now. But right now, let's do the Headline Blitz.
This is Jason and Joe's Headline Blitz. Brought to you by Novo Brazil Brewery in North Star Mall. 2 guys, 2 opinions, never enough time.
You know, the Big 12 athletic directors held a call today to pitch about Texas Tech quarterback Brendan Sorsby's ability apparently to play right now because they were able to find a judge that granted him the ability to do that. Now, granted, we expect all kinds of appeals, but nobody is happy except for those in Lubbock that Brendan Sorsby is able to play. And it feels like the judge, they found a judge from Lubbock that says, well, yeah, you're a high-priced quarterback. You're going to be able to play. But he broke the one rule that you shouldn't be allowed to break. And the fact that Texas Tech is standing by him is a little bit more disappointing is the answer, because there are some things that you just can't do in college athletics or in athletics at all. And we all know gambling is one of them. Even though he was a freshman, the amount of money, and he had just his knowledge, all of that. There's a reason why those that are participating are not allowed to gamble. And I get Texas Tech saying, hey, look, we paid him a lot of money. We're trying to win, and we've got to stand by our guy. And you do want to stand by your guys. I get that. This guy's never played it down for Texas Tech. He probably doesn't even know his way around campus, and he sure as hell hasn't seen the inside of a classroom. If you're going to make a statement and look like you care about the overall health of college athletics, if you're Texas Tech, you say, you know what, Sorsby, we really wanted you, but after you got here, we found out some things, and we can't have you here. That's not what they're doing. They are standing by Brendan Sorsby. And while all the Big 12 athletic directors had a call today after Sorsby got that temporary injunction that protects his eligibility and for this year, sure, he's got to miss 2 games. Woo! Texas Tech won't have that guy against Abilene Christian. Whoop-de-effing-do, right? They're going to win that game. You can bet on that, Brendan. They've got Oregon State. They're going to win that game. You and I could play quarterback with Texas Tech and their expensive roster and win that game. But it feels like the Big 12 is trying to figure out, are there some rules in their bylaws where they could override whatever that judge said? And, again, how many more lawyers is Cody Campbell going to pay? But according to ESPN, Big 12's option could include an interpretation of League Bylaw 3.6, which allows the conference the ability for discipline. And we'll see, because nobody in the Big 12, nobody in college athletics is happy about this judge's ruling. Everybody keeps trying to say we've got to have some standardized rules, and until they're in place, what would you do? And then Kirby Holcutt released, the athletic director there at Texas Tech, released a statement today. Now, I'm not going to read the whole thing because it would take me until 4:30. It's one of those long statements, but they're standing by their guy. What if it was your son? Well, if it was my son, I'd say you screwed up, and now you got to, suffer the consequences. And what are the consequences for Brendan Sorsby? He enters the NFL supplemental draft. I mean, the fact that judge and that court set the hearing for February of next year after the national championship game, where it won't matter if he loses in court, because at that point his college eligibility would be over and he'd be preparing for the NFL draft. I mean, there are certain things you just can't do, and he broke that rule. And Holcutt continues to do this. And I'm just curious, and Pledge and I were talking about it earlier. Well, what if this was a UT quarterback? Would Texas Tech say the same thing? What if this was a quarterback for Oklahoma State, another Big 12 team, or Arizona State, the Penn State quarterback, an Ohio State quarterback? Texas Tech would be acting like every other university out there, because it is flat wrong that they are standing by him in this situation. Wrong that they were able to find a judge, but they found a judge in their backyard. All right, you can find a judge. It's like if you think something right, you keep going to one until you find somebody that tells you what you want. And they were able to do that. The NCAA is trying, and the NCAA has no teeth. If you've got enough money, get your lawyers to go find a judge, and eventually you're going to hear what you want to hear. And Big Ten's talking about not playing Texas Tech in any sport. I think the Big 12 would like to. I don't know how you do that to a member school. I really don't know what kind of punishments you can have. I mean, while the revenue share of the TV deal is obviously very important to Texas Tech, when you've got a guy like Cody Campbell, and I know it's a lot of money, but you wonder if Cody Campbell will be able to make up for the losses that they wouldn't get if the Big 12 were to penalize Texas Tech with some financial discipline by not cutting into their revenue share. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out, what the Big 12 ultimately can do, if anything. But it seems dumb that Texas Tech as a university doesn't just cut ties with Brendan Sorsby because what he did was wrong. But they're trying to do whatever they can to win at football. And then I was reading a story today about a high school in Massachusetts. And you talk about maybe the other end of the extreme. A Massachusetts high school lacrosse team looked like they were good enough to go win a state championship in lacrosse. But they had to forfeit a state semifinal game because a group of seniors smoked cigars after graduation. So you get a bunch of seniors, they graduate, and they take a photo of them smoking cigars. Well, that's against school rules. They're not allowed to smoke. They've graduated, but they're still participating with this lacrosse team in the playoffs. And the school disciplined them and said, you guys are all suspended. And then they had to forfeit the game 4 hours before the start of that state semifinal game because they smoked a cigar, took a photo of them smoking cigars after they graduated. See, to me, that's too extreme. The rules are, I mean, they're not smoking cigarettes. They're celebrating with cigars, and they took a photo. I think a lot of people do that when they graduate high school or they're celebrating something. But the school said they broke a rule. You can't play. That's just odd to me. Both are on extremes. Kind of go that route. The World Cup is starting soon. World Cup tickets are crazy expensive, right? And the World Cup has come up with another way to separate fans from their money. For $79 in these World Cup stadiums, you can pay and have your name shown on the Jumbotron. Who's going to do that? Who would really pay $79 to put their name, hey, you're here, and then hope that you get a picture of it? I don't know. I just feel like, that's a money grab that I'm seeing from FIFA, and I would imagine that every league out there would say, you know what, people will pay for that? You're going to see that in every stadium and every arena from here on out. Certainly seems to make sense when you look at it that way. I don't know who would pay that, but I'm sure there people are. Now, if you were doing something, you're taking your kid to the game and it's his birthday and you want birthday wishes up there, sure, I get that. But just I don't know how many words you get or if it's just your name for $79. It didn't say, but it does seem kind of odd that for $80, $79, you can get your name on a Jumbotron in a stadium at a World Cup game. Go from there. Tonight's game 4 of the NBA Finals. Monday you had the craziness with President Trump showing up. The president is not going to the game tonight, but Taylor Swift is. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce, they're actually having their wedding next month at Madison Square Garden. According to TMZ, they are paying millions to have their wedding at Madison Square Garden. Cool. They're renting the building out for 3 days. 3 days. A day early for setup, the day of the wedding, and then a day to tear down. So, I mean, millions to do that. But they are going to be at the game tonight. I don't know if tickets came with, if you spend that to book it for a wedding, you could do that. But more than 1,000 people are going to go watch them get married, and those two are going to be courtside tonight for Game 4 of the NBA Finals. So Trump on one of the games, and tonight's game, Taylor
I'm
Swift.
a Swiftie.
Who will get more TV time? Thought it was interesting. ABC limited the amount of times they show Donald Trump. Will they limit the amount of times they show Taylor Swift? Now, it's different that if they show her when they go to a wide shot and if she's sitting courtside and she's on TV versus the close-up of whatever she might be doing. I don't know. Something else to watch for tonight's Game 4. Again, we'll talk a lot more Spurs basketball coming up. Devin Brown will join us in about 20 minutes from right now. Bill Schoening in about an hour. Cowboys having OTAs. Dak talking about George Pickens and will he show up for the mandatory portions. We'll get into that. Coming up here on the Blitz, live at the Dog Haus Beirgarten in Stone Oak on Stone Oak Parkway and at 281 here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
The Morning Huddle.
I think you guys might be more adventurous to me because I don't think I have a thing that I'd be like embarrassed to talk about.
You got a thing.
I don't think so.
You know,
I'm not.
Just because
I'm
you
not
don't think you
about
got
my
a thing doesn't mean you don't got a thing. But you got a thing. And your significant other knows that thing.
Vic likes to eat salsa out of his girl's belly button.
Whatever it is.
Vic's got weird things.
When your significant other finds out what your thing is, they know how to end the whole process right then.
Yeah. All right.
It's over.
Let's
You got 5 seconds. You ready? 5, 4, 3, done. Like when you're getting the gas, count backwards from 100.
The Morning Huddle with AJ and Rob. Weekday mornings 6 to 10. 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
The Headline Blitz is brought to you by Novo Brewery, San Antonio's newest sports watching destination with over 80 feet of video walls, 60 craft beers, and hard kombucha on tap. A full bar and delicious menu. Novo Brewery is attached to North Star Mall and open late hours. San Antonio's playoff headquarters has arrived. Novo Brewery features 80 feet of video walls, craft beers, hard kombucha on tap, and the food menu that means business. Thick-cut ribeye, picanha prime sirloin, Brazilian empanadas, stacked burgers, carne asada fries, and more. And with its own private entrance separate from North Star Mall, no hassle, just you, your crew, and the biggest screens in the city at Novo Brewery. Open late. Visit novobrew.com. Novo Brewery. Come hungry. Stay for the game.
Check engine or ABS light on? Take the guesswork out of your warning lights with O'Reilly Veriscan. It's free. Ask for O'Reilly Veriscan.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
The Gomez Law Firm is proud to be San Antonio's trusted personal injury law firm for the past 50 years. We have Jose with the Gomez Law Firm here with us. Your firm has been fighting for the people of San Antonio since 1973. That's incredible.
There are not a lot of businesses that stick around for even 50 years, let alone personal injury law firms.
If you have been injured in an accident or hit by a company vehicle, then turn to the law firm that will fight for you. Visit joegomezlaw.com.
And remember, Gomez Law fights.
Attention taxpayers. If you or your business owe the IRS back taxes or have years of unfiled tax returns, the IRS has greenlighted billions of dollars in tax relief to those facing financial hardship through its tax relief initiatives. If you have a delinquent tax problem and possibly facing wage garnishment, liens, levies, audits, or already in a payment plan, you may now qualify for significant relief. Qualifying and enrolling in this program could stop all collections, settle your tax problem, and may even reduce what you owe by up to 99%. Call the hotline at TaxPro USA to see if you qualify by dialing 800-444-9112. If you or your business owe at least $10,000 in back taxes to the IRS or state, you can now get the help that you need during these hard economic times. Call TaxPro USA to get your free tax assessment to see what you qualify for by dialing 800-444-9112. 800-444-9112. That's 800-444-9112.
From the people who brought you It's the Dog Park comes.
It's a hot spot on your dog's leg that the internet says you can treat it at home. You're not sure though, because now it's oozing.
Protect your dog from injury and illness with Progressive Pet Insurance.
Ooh, he's licking it. Super gross, dude.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Not available in all states or situations. Coverage subject to policy terms.
Texting enrolls you in a recurring automated marketing text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
The team's looking good this season. I think so. Man, I miss playing football. Ever since I turned 40, I just can't find that fire I used to have. Think it could be lower testosterone?
What do you mean?
I was feeling the same way. After 40, the body has less testosterone, and men lose their edge. That's why I take Nugenix Total T2.
That's the testosterone booster, right?
Yes, but Total T2 is their brand new formula that skyrockets nitric oxide levels in as little as 3 hours. Since I started taking it, I've been lifting like when we played for Coach Carter. My energy is way up, and it even spiced up things between me and the missus.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles?
Yep, just send a text.
Text SPARK to 215215 for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T2, the next generation testosterone booster. Text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo X, our newest, most powerful fat burner ever, absolutely free. Text SPARK to 215215. That's SPARK to 215215.
These statements have not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Healthy vision is about more than seeing clearly. It's about going beyond. From comprehensive eye care with the latest technology to advanced vision solutions that provide deep insights into your overall health. And with doctors who build lasting relationships founded on trust, ensuring that every detail is taken care of. I choose Vision Source to never miss out on life's precious moments. Vision Source, beyond your eyes.
You could win unmatched views of the match during the Twin Peaks Go for the Gold giveaway presented by Michelob Ultra and Casamigos. Visit TwinPeaksSoccer.com to enter for your chance to win by June 14th. Twin Peaks, eats, drinks, scenic views.
It's The Blitz with Jason and Joe on 94.1 San Antonio.
It is The Blitz here on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. Joe Reinagle on vacation. I'm Jason Minnix. Glad to have you along. Game for the NBA Finals tonight. Come hang out with us here at the Dog Haus Beirgarten on Stone Oak Parkway and at 281. On the air here till 6, then I get to drink some beer, hang out, and watch the game tonight. Goals. Just get till 6. Or really get to the game. How are you feeling about tonight's game? The anticipation. It feels like it is a must-win for both teams. By definition, not a must-win, obviously, because it's game 4. But you look at who is facing the most pressure, and it feels kind of equal. Obviously, the Spurs want to get this series tied at 2. The Knicks would rather come to San Antonio up 3-1 with a chance to close it out. And obviously, if the Spurs were able to get this win tonight and it's 2-2, it becomes a best of 3 and the Spurs regain that home court advantage. Although home court has not been an advantage in this series, as we all know, with the home team yet to win. And let's hope that trend does continue tonight. Most important Spur not named Wemby for Game 4 tonight. That is our poll question on YouTube. You can get to the YouTube page through sasportstar.com. De'Aaron Fox and Steph Castle are both at now 38%. Dylan Harper at 16%. Devin Vassell is at 8%. So you can go vote in the poll. Just over 100 votes so far in the poll. And I could see Steph Castle, obviously his defense is imperative. He has to stay out of foul trouble. And his job on Jalen Brunson and what he has done through the first 3 games needs to stay there. But he's a physical player, and if the refs call it tight tonight, Castle has to stay out of foul trouble. De'Aaron Fox has to hit shots. He says, he's fine, right? He's not wavering his confidence because he's getting to his spots. He's getting the shots that he wants, but he's got to be able to knock those shots down. Those two right now tied at 38%. So get in there to the YouTube page and vote in the poll, and we'll continue to update that throughout the show. Devin Brown will join us coming up around 3:35. But Cowboys going through OTAs up in Dallas. And when you think about, obviously this year expectations are going to be high. And, this time of year, everything looks good. But the only drama with Dallas was kind of nipped in the bud early in the offseason when George Pickens did sign that franchise tag. He could have waited. But because he signed that franchise tag, he can be fined if he does not show up at the mandatory minicamp, which starts next week. Now, that said, what's going on right now is voluntary, and he is not there. Dak Prescott was asked if he expects GP to show up next week.
I haven't had any conversations, and to be honest, would love for him to be in, but even if he's in, I doubt it's he's going full go, jumping in the team. I would hope not, to be honest, just being protected and being smart. So just hope he gets in, just to, see some of the new guys, meet some of the new guys, and I'm sure he'll be in.
And again, as he says that, he's right. You know, the reason these guys on the franchise tag don't want to do anything or do anything at training camp is because they've only got 1 year. And it is a lot of money for George Pickens, but it's 1 year. You get hurt in this situation, you're kind of screwing yourself. That's why players don't like it. It's a lot of money for 1 year, but no guarantee. And when you look at what the Cowboys are doing, I think George Pickens is just like the rest of us. We know he's not going to ultimately get that long-term contract that he is seeking, especially when you look at some of the other receivers that have signed this offseason. I mean, Cowboys aren't going to have the money to be able to sign everybody. And I don't expect George Pickens past this year, and I wouldn't be surprised if there was some sort of trade. Now, that said, well, George Pickens, you heard Dak, even if he does show up, probably won't do a lot of the team drills. But Dak Prescott did say he has had some throwing sessions with GP this offseason.
Yeah, I mean, they were early in the offseason, but they were great. George is George. He's great. He's awesome. The personality, excitement, his energy was consistent as it's been. Those times that I got to throw with him, and honestly, just even communicating with him through phone as we have in these last couple of weeks. Yeah, George is great. I'm excited about where he's going to be. I'm excited about when he gets in and the work that we're going to have to build off of. But yeah, George is George, and he's fine.
And you figure when you think about the Cowboys and the offense that they had last year with finally a running game, Pickens and CeeDee Lamb, yet this team still struggled big time in the red zone. And Dak Prescott says that is the big focus of this offense this offseason.
Yeah, red zone. Just plain and simple red zone. I mean, we talked about it last year throughout the year. And so you get into the offseason, you look at the numbers. I don't remember exactly what it was, but one of them were, I think, 30th in some red zone ranking. And that's just unacceptable, especially with the players we have, the talent we have, the coaches we have, the schemers. So that was put on notice for everybody, the whole unit. And we're all, pushing not only get better in that, but as you said, every aspect. But that's a place that you have to get better at.
And that's just the offensive side, and he's right. Now, that offense last year was fantastic. The defense was just god-awful. Now they've got a new defensive coordinator, and Dak Prescott was asked, if has he noticed anything really different on the defensive side?
A lot. Starting with just their DC, Christian Parker, obviously excited about when we got him, but now having spent time with him, having to compete against him, just his leadership, for one. You can feel it amongst each and every one of the position groups on defense. You can feel their intensity. Probably just going against them, their communication. When we motion or we make moves or calls, they're as loud as we are. They're echoing. And just a defense that communicates loud, usually a defense that's sound. So just excited about that. They've already made it hard on me. They've already made some of these practices very competitive. And the trash talking, the energy has been high. It's iron sharpens iron already, and I can tell you it's only going to get better. Camp's going to be fun, and we're going to make it tough on each other best we can.
Camp is going to be fun. It always is when you get out to Oxnard, at least for us media types. But, also the excitement of this rookie class, which, I don't expect to hear anything different from Dak Prescott except for to be very positive about his teammates. But listen carefully to some of the things he says about this rookie class.
Very, very mature rookie class. I don't know if it's a part of, just the age, right? Just being blunt. The guys are coming in much older than they were in the past or have in the past and have a lot more experience. And so, you feel that. You can feel they're not the young 19-year-olds or whatever it is, or just trying to learn. They're coming in. They understand that there's a way here. These guys have been managing money. They've been doing a lot of the pro things now for a couple of years. So I credit them. They've come in with the right mindset, with the idea to listen, to earn my respect. But at the same time, I've got to go and put stuff on the field to make sure that I can impact and help this team. And every one of them. Credit Caleb and Malachi, obviously being the first round of the first rounders. Usually you kind of, call the leaders of that group. But I can tell you there's a lot of gems in that group, whether it just be talent or whether it be personality and men. And they're going to help this team.
And it's interesting as I hear that from Dak because, I don't know if a lot of us really put a lot of thought in. The guys are staying in school longer because of the money they can make in college. And they've been managing big money already. And a lot of rookies, they've never had that kind of money before. You get drafted and boom, you've got a lot of money for the first time in your life. And how do you handle that? Well, these guys are coming in and they've already been dealing with that. And for Dak Prescott to notice that, and again, he's in double-digit years now. It wasn't like that for him. And granted, he was a fourth-rounder back when he was drafted. And he wasn't even the first fourth-rounder. He was the second fourth-rounder. Now, with injuries, he got put in the spotlight a lot earlier. But, kind of interesting when you think about older guys, more mature, already doing pro-level things and having to manage money. And then, of course, you get a guy like Caleb Downs, who everybody that talks about him being well beyond his years, and that does include Dak Prescott.
Yeah, I mean, true young pro. Super, super excited for him. Young career, long career ahead of him. Could talk about him honestly all day. I've got now a chance to spend some time with him here, golfed with him outside the facility. He's wired the right way. I'm super excited for him to be on that defense, to lead that defense, not just the defense, this team. He's a good example of pretty much that whole class, that whole rookie class. And they all follow his lead to that extent, and impressed, very impressed.
We'll get back into getting ready for tonight's game 4 of the Spurs-Knicks NBA Finals. Your thoughts, 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. And Devin Brown, he won a ring with the Spurs. He joins us next here on The Blitz on 94.1 at San Antonio Sports Star. If you need your logo on any kind of gear, you need promotional items done, you need to get into Sammy's Embroidery and Printing down on San Pedro. Golf shirts, fishing shirts, dress shirts. Sam can get that logo on your shirt. And he's got all the big name brands from North Face, Eddie Bauer, Nike, Adidas, Under Armour, Travis Matthew, Port Authority. He even now carries a full line of Tommy Bahama. He can screen print your T-shirts if you need caps done. He has over 25,000 caps and more than 75 color combinations on display in his showroom. And he's got all the popular cap brands as well. Over 700 uniform lines to choose from. And his new sign shop can take care of your signs, banners, flags, card magnets, vehicle wraps, window decals, and more. I'm not sure what Sammy can't do when it comes to logos on gear, promotional items. Call him, 210-824-3900. Nobody has better prices. No order too big, no order too small. And he is the only company in Texas that offers one-day turnaround. Call him or go see him. That massive showroom is down on San Pedro, a mile inside Loop 410 across from the McDonald's. Check the website, samsembroidery.com, for Sammy's Embroidery Club.
All right, step up. If you really know the Rangers, this is your game on Rangers Game Day. Make your call in the morning huddles, Ranger Double Dinger Payday. Pick the Ranger who takes one deep. He hits one, you're in. Ranger tickets. He hits two. Then we're talking tickets and a hotel stay. Big swings, big rewards. Wake up with the morning huddle and cash in with the morning huddles, Rangers Double Dinger Payday. 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star, South Texas home of the Texas Rangers.
By texting 64,000, you agree to receive recurring automated marketing messages from IQ Bar. Message and data rates may apply. No purchase required. Terms apply. Available at eatiqbar.com/policy/terms of service.
I've got good news and bad news. Here's the bad news. Most protein bars are packed with sugar and unpronounceable ingredients. The good news? There's a better option. I'm Will, and I created IQ Bar plant protein bars to empower doers like you with clean, delicious, low-sugar brain and body fuel. IQ Bars are packed with 12 grams of protein, brain nutrients like magnesium and lion's mane, and zero weird stuff. And right now, you can get 20% off all IQ Bar products, plus free shipping. Clean ingredients, amazing taste, and you'll love how you feel. Refuel smarter, hydrate harder, caffeinate larger with IQ Bar.
Try our delicious IQ Bar sampler pack with 9 plant protein bars, 8 hydration mixes, and 4 mushroom coffee sticks. And now you can get 20% off all IQ Bar products plus free shipping when you text RADIO to 64,000. Text RADIO to 64,000 to get your 20% off. That's radio to 64,000.
Do you owe back taxes or have unfiled tax returns? The IRS won't quit until they get your money. Here's great news, fresh from those in the know. Major changes have happened at the IRS. If you owe more than $10,000, you may be eligible for a 99% reduction of what you owe. Haven't filed a return for a while? Their happy clients are talking.
The IRS was going to levy my bank account, but Guardian was able to prevent that and fix all my IRS issues.
Thanks again, Guardian Tax.
Need relief from crushing tax debt? The IRS now has special programs. Guardian Tax knows all about them. Personal or business, this is the fresh new break you've been hoping for.
We aren't the company you call when you need a hug because you're scared of the IRS. Guardian Tax is the company that wins when you need it most.
Guardian Tax Service is really great to work with. They really helped me out. I'd recommend them highly.
Call now for a free confidential consultation. 800-505-3931. 800-505-3931. 800-505-3931.
Injuries happen, and when they do, skip the ER and get to the Ortho Now Injury Clinic by TSAOG Orthopedics and Spine. Ortho Now provides walk-in care for injuries like broken bones, dislocations, sprains, and strains. Conveniently located in the Quarry area with extended hours Monday through Saturday with on-site X-ray casting and bracing. Ortho Now has everything you need to treat your injury, and best of all, no urgent care or emergency room copay. Learn more online at tsaog.com.
Want to upgrade your ride and help Texas students? Here's your chance. Every year, Texas Yes sets up thousands of students for success with school supplies, literacy programs, and classroom grants. Enter the Drive Away for Education drawing sponsored by Ansira Auto Group, and you could drive off in a brand new car, truck, or SUV. Plus, don't miss our weekly drawings. Every dollar goes straight to Texas schools and students. Grab your tickets right now at texasyesproject.org.
Looking for your new favorite spot in Stone Oak? Head to Dog Haus Beirgarten for the best gourmet all-beef hot dogs, handcrafted sausages, and premium smash burgers, all on grilled King's Hawaiian rolls. And check out their brand new menu. Watch all the games at Dog Haus Beirgarten, Stone Oak. It's a full-service bar and grill with 24 rotating craft beers on draft, plus wine and signature cocktails. Open late for summer at Stone Oak Parkway in 281. See for yourself why this is where being in the Dog House is fun. The Dog Haus Beirgarten in Stone Oak.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Millions of finds, each with a story. eBay. Things people love.
It's the Morning Huddle with AJ Hoffman and Rob Thompson.
Coming up on the Morning Huddle, the series headed back to San Antonio. How the Spurs looking going into Game 5?
Do they need to win 2 straight or 3 straight? We'll talk about how they got there and what they got to do. Get here early. The party starts at 6.
It's the Morning Huddle with AJ Hoffman and Rob Thompson. Mornings 6 to 10 on 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star. San Antonio and New York. This is where you come to talk about the finals. 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
Game 4 of the NBA Finals tonight. Kind of a must-win, it feels like, for both teams in so many ways. Spurs trying to get the series even at 2. The Knicks trying to go up 3-1 with a chance to close it out Saturday night in San Antonio. It is the Blitz here on 94.1 at San Antonio Sports Star. I'm Jason Minnix. Joe Reinagel on vacation. We're live today at the Dog Haus Beirgarten in Stone Oak Parkway, and at 281. Let's talk about tonight's game with somebody that's got a championship ring with the Spurs. Good friend Devin Brown joining us now on the Buyers Barricades guest line. And you've been doing these post-game shows all year long, Devin, you and Casey Vieira. You look at this game tonight. My first off, does it feel like it's kind of a must-win mentality for both of these teams?
Well, yes, but I'm leaning more must-win for San Antonio, just in the case, because New York, he was able to come down and steal 2 on making shots. Wemby has a big game, and now you have a chance. Recipe, for me, Jason, I'm a little selfish. I played for Pop. I like to see more plays called down the stretch. But we don't have time for that. But the guys did a good job taking care of their business in Game 3.
Well, they did, although let's make time for that. I mean, with what you're watching and you understand the system a little bit more, I mean, I've got a poll question on our YouTube page right now that says most important Spur not named Wemby tonight, and I've got Castle and Fox and Vassell and Harper. I think you just said Mitch Johnson might need to be on that list.
Well, of course. When Mitch is on his game, the Spurs are really good. And, the thing about it is, from what I'm seeing them do, it's kind of whoever, feels like they have an advantage. It's kind of like they're playing New York, East Coast type basketball, in the sense that whoever has a matchup that they like, they have the freedom to attack. And so the reason why I say it is when you like 4 minutes, like game 1, game 2, and it's a close. I'm getting.
Devin, I'm not sure. Devin, are you driving right now or walking around the house? Because your phone keeps cutting out. I'm not sure where you are, or because you're saying some really good stuff and I'm missing it. So I know the listeners are missing it as well. But can you get stationary somewhere? And when we get that good clear connection, or people blowing you up saying they hear you on the radio right now?
No, we should be good now. Is everything clear right now?
Yeah, everything is clear right now. So let's go back to what you were about to say with the Spurs playing East Coast style basketball.
Yeah, so sometimes they catch themselves playing East Coast basketball, meaning whoever feels like they have an advantage, they're going to attack. And it's usually early in the shot clock. So what I'm saying is it got you in trouble game 1, game 2. What you would like to see them do is run it through Wemby, right? And if they have to double when Wemby has it going like he did in game 3, now your threes are going to be wide open. That's all I was saying.
And it makes sense as we visit with Devin Brown here on the Blitz on 94.1 at San Antonio Sports Star. I liked what we saw in game 3 with Wemby dominating the paint early. It felt like he was allergic to the paint in game 1 and 2, and I don't know how that guy could only get 4 shots in the first half of game 2. He ends up with a bunch in the second half, but in the first half, he was passive, and I don't know if it was because of tiredness, the fatigue factor, but Wemby's got to dominate, and it's got to start in the paint, does it not?
No, it does. The thing that I'm learning about him, and he's played, all this season. This is the first time me having eyes on him the full season. It's that I think when he goes through situations like that, I think his teammates have bailed him out, whether it's Castle or some of the other guys that you've mentioned throughout the year. So when he goes through that in a game 1, game 2, you would like a Fox or a Castle or even Harper. You got to put Harper up there too, to bail him out. That way, now when it comes to fourth quarter, as a player, you turn to him kind of like we used to do Timmy D. Not a lot because, you have Pop coaching him, not Mitch. But what you would do is you go, all right, now it's your quarter. All right. But I think that Wemby depends on that a little bit more than he should. But you're absolutely right. He needs to start off dominating in the paint, and then you'll start taking the threes. I think the threes sometimes, if he comes out and hits his first 2, I look at the TV and I go, uh-oh, because he's going to turn into Larry Bird.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and he ain't Larry Bird, and he ain't Steph Curry. And again, I wish they would all right, you get 1 a quarter, and if you make it, you could take a second one and just limit the amount of threes that he's able to take. Like the other night, he was 2 of 4, and he dominated in the paint. That's the kind of game that I want to see from Victor Wembanyama when he's hitting the threes. And again, when I'm watching these, whether in person or on TV, even when he makes them, I'm not happy necessarily with the shot selection, but it is today's NBA. Now, you brought up Greg Popovich. Pop, as we know, has been around this team all year long. And you played for him, and obviously Pop today is different than when you were playing for Greg Popovich, Devin. But, we saw Pop greet Wemby on the tarmac when he had that elbow situation in Minnesota. And I saw that, and I was like, that kind of reminded me when you came in after curfew and you think your parents are asleep and mom's standing waiting for you in the kitchen. Well, apparently Pop ripped that team after a game against Oklahoma City in the locker room, but he got on the plane and talked to the boys before they took off to New York down 0-2. When you think about Pop delivering messages to this team, while he's not the coach, he is still Greg Popovich. How does his message resonate with these players today?
It's the same because, San Antonio, the biggest thing about San Antonio is the system has worked for 20, 25 years. So when you have, these new players and you have these guys that are, more like Castle has the ball in his hands a lot more. Him and Fox and Harper have the ball in their hands a whole lot more than Tony ever did. All right. So when you have these guys and you have them, driving in, and there are players that are, everybody's used to them kicking it and getting not a good shot, a great shot. So when Coach Pop sees certain things going on with certain players, that's what made Pop so good. He can adapt. So when you say even now and back then, it's the same thing because he's going to adapt to his roster. So what he's trying to tell the guys is, don't play like we did in 2000 or whenever it was, 2003, whenever it was. But make sure that if I do get into the lane and I have to take a questionable one, there may be somebody open for a better look. I'm pretty sure that's all he's telling them. But when you talk about effort and defense and things like that, it's always started with a clear message that he's putting on to them is, when you guys get in the stance and get after people, you're a really good basketball team. Hey, and Jason, you saw that in Game 3.
You're right. The ball movement was there. The assist numbers were there, and those guys were making shots. And I say those guys, everybody but a De'Aaron Fox. Now, you're a guard. He's a guard. And shooters are going to shoot. I love the fact that De'Aaron Fox is not seemingly playing like he's lost any confidence. But when you are shooting the ball poorly, and he can say, dude, I'm getting the shots I want. I'm getting to the spots. They're just not dropping. Put me in the mindset of a guard in that situation when you're getting the shot you want, but they're not dropping, yet you don't seem to be losing any confidence. How does that happen? Can you take us through what the player mentality has to be in that situation?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been on De'Aaron all year from the simple fact that, the Spurs don't hand out a whole lot of contracts in the area that he's making. So I've been on him, pretty much all year. The thing that I'll give him a whole lot of credit for in Game 3 is that it shows up with the coaches, but it doesn't show up on the stat sheet for the game. He had a lot of rebounds he couldn't get to, but he would tip them to his teammates. All right. Now we all know, if you watch the Spurs like you and I have, and I'm sure your listeners have, yes, he's been absolutely struggling, because when you talk about someone that's an all-star and averaging 25, 30, whatever it was that he's averaging, and you're wanting to see that, and then the San Antonio's allowing him to be kind of the leader, take a step back. Well, now in the playoffs, you need him to pick it up. And I think in Game 3, there were some rebounds, some steals, even him getting switched on the Brunson. During the year, you didn't want him on the star player. But I think he did a great job in Game 3, guarding his yard, defense, and being able to take care of his business. Now, Game 4 is where De'Aaron can get a lot of forgiveness.
Damn, the phone cut out right at the wrong time, Devin Brown. It feels like it was another turnover, and Pop is going to yell at you. We're at a place called the Dog House in Stone Oak, and you're going to head to the Dog House because of a bad phone connection. And it still doesn't seem like it's coming back. Is it back now? Maybe? Pledge.
Can you hear me?
There you are. Again, yep. I know we're at a place called the Dog House in Stone Oak, and we're about to put you in the Dog House because of the phone, or the phone's going into the Dog House. Go ahead and finish your thought there on De'Aaron.
Yeah, so De'Aaron, like I said, with the deflections that he had, not getting the rebounds, being able to tip it to his teammates, that was a good thing. Now, in this game, Game 4, he can have a lot of forgiveness from San Antonio fans if he goes out there and has a big game.
Absolutely. And again, he needs to have one tonight if the Spurs are going to get this series tied at 2. Devin Brown joining us here on the Blitz on 94.1 at San Antonio Sports Star. Your long NBA career, couple of stints with San Antonio, got you a ring in one of the best 7-game series I've ever been able to witness with my own eyes, and you were on the bench for it. 2005 finals against the Detroit Pistons. It was 2-0, then it was 2-2, and obviously we know the Spurs ended up winning that in a Game 7 at then the SBC Center. Does this series remind you at all of that 2005 series where all the games were close and it came down to who made the clutch plays in the final couple minutes of regulation, or Game 5 even went to overtime if memory serves?
Right. Not yet. If San Antonio gets this win tonight and it comes back 2-2, now we can start getting that feeling back from that series. But tonight is a huge game because if you're San Antonio, you do not want to come back 3-1, right? So, with the Detroit series, it was just about, making sure you paid attention to detail, things like that. So in that sense, it's a little bit like tonight because New York's going to come out, ton of energy, probably not the same distractions they had for Game 3, or that.
We're going to have to get Devin a new phone and a new phone sponsor. But again, I do think what he is truly saying is, if the Spurs get the win tonight, and they can get the win tonight if they play Spurs basketball and it comes back 2-2, it's a completely different ball game. When you look at the idea of if it's 3-1, now it's just, are they on life support? You've got a DNR at what point? I mean, I think one time, and it was the Cleveland Cavaliers a couple years ago against Golden State, did a team down 3-1 actually come back and win the series in 7. That's the only time that it's ever happened in the NBA when it's been a 3-1 series. Devin, do we have you back?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right, there you are. Again, he kind of cut out there about the importance of tonight. And obviously, if you're down 3-1, the chances of winning the series, only the Cavs a couple of years ago against Golden State have ever come back from a 3-1 series to win it. So for the Spurs tonight, and it does kind of feel like whoever wins tonight is going to end up hoisting the Larry O'Brien trophy. At least that's how I feel.
Well, yeah, if you go down 3-1, you definitely, going back to New York for that next game is going to be almost, a mistake-free basketball game. And with the roster that we have, we probably don't want to, put ourselves in that situation. So tonight is huge. And like I said, it's got to be the same recipe. The ball movement, it's got to be Wemby in the fourth quarter, along with, one or two other players. But the biggest thing is making sure that you stay attached to your man with all the switching that San Antonio's doing. I thought in that fourth quarter last game, they did a great job bottling up Brunson in the corners right around when he got around half court. So what it's going to be is New York's going to try and get Brunson off the ball in the fourth quarter, and they're going to have him in the center of the court. And so when they do that, the Spurs have to make sure that they're playing that same great defense they did last game.
Devin, I know you've had the opportunity to play at Madison Square Garden a number of times. The mystique of that place did not seem to faze the Spurs with just playing in that building, and then all the chaos and everything going around it, the celebrities, the president, the security, all of that. Being a young team, are you impressed by the calmness that they were able to show in Game 1 or Game 3?
Oh, I was very impressed with how they handled all that in Game 3. And let me tell you this, when I saw Benson and Stabler over there on the sideline, Devin would have been no good for you in Game 3. But the Spurs were able to answer that, and, they played well. And I'll tell you what, New York, since they're there, and here's the biggest thing about all of that, when they got the first two games here in San Antonio, is when you went online, whether it was Instagram or whatever platform you look at, was the block parties that they were throwing before Game 3 even happened. So if the right person got a hold of that and they used that as motivation, that was great because they need to do the same thing because now, New York, for lots of that fourth quarter, they were very quiet. And I was wondering if my TV was working because of how excited they were the first two games. So tonight is going to be more of the New York crowd that you saw during the regular season, and it's going to be more of them, egging on New York to get this game and not go back to San Antonio or come back to San Antonio 2-2.
Devin, where can people tune you in tonight after the game for your post-game podcast?
Oh, Locked On Sports on YouTube. We'll be there about 15 minutes. Casey and I will be on there about 15 minutes after the game. Look forward to seeing our regular viewers and some new ones.
Absolutely. Devin Brown, former NBA champ, Mr. UTSA, all-around good guy. Probably was playing golf a little earlier today because that's what you get to do when you're a retired NBA star. Devin, appreciate you doing this afternoon.
Hey, absolutely no problem. You guys need me again, you call me.
Absolutely. Devin Brown here on the Buyers Barricades guest line where they provide traffic control, rental, and sales for San Antonio and beyond. Online at buyersbarricades.com. You just heard from Devin. Let's hear from you. Your feelings, your thoughts on tonight's big game 4. 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. Getting older, it's part of life, right? But if you're always tired, especially with these games, they're going late, the energy, the stress that goes with it, you're exhausted, that's cool. And that should be expected as a Spurs fan. But if your energy is always down, your workouts aren't what they used to be, your focus is a little bit off, you just don't feel like yourself, your sex drive isn't what it used to be, it's time for you to get into Synergenics. About 1 in 4 men over 40 have low testosterone. And for a lot of guys, the symptoms, they come on gradually and you don't notice it first and you just go, all right, this is life now, or stress or lack of sleep from work and all of that might factor in, but it could actually be low testosterone. Go get that free testosterone test that they have at Synergenics. And Synergenics truly is the best place for you to go and start your treatments if you need them, because they specialize in hormone health and testosterone replacement therapy. They're going to use lab work, symptoms, health history, and your personal goals to create a treatment plan that is customized to you. Not all two guys are the same. That means not every treatment plan is the same, and you're dealing with experts in their field. You're not going online, filling out a form, and then just getting something sent to you that everybody gets. It truly is customized to you. And that TRT can help support your energy, your focus, your libido, your mood, your overall quality of life. So you don't have to settle for feeling less than your best. You can kind of get that feeling, how you talk about, man, 20 years ago I could do this, 10 years ago I could do that. You can get back to that. Synergenics also works with most major insurance providers. And again, that testosterone test is absolutely free. So go get tested. Synergenics.com is where you need to go to book that initial appointment. SYNERGENX.com.
You're locked on the Blitz with Jason and Joe. Afternoons 2 to 6. KTFM Floresville. And everywhere at SASportsStar.com.
Yo, it's Jay Uso from WWE, and I'm Jimmy Uso. Chumba Casino and WWE are hyped for the biggest event of the summer, SummerSlam. I know, I can't wait. There's nothing better to do while we're waiting than playing Chumba Casino. Sign up today, and you could win a VIP experience with Chumba Casino and WWE for SummerSlam. So what are you waiting for? Play Chumba Casino and enter for your chance to win. Let's Chumba. Yeah.
Sponsored by VGW Group. No purchase necessary. See terms at ChumbaCasino.com. Must be over 21 and present in a state where it's legal to play.
The countdown to the World Cup is on, and the Soccer Factory is your home for everything soccer. From youth players to lifelong fans, they've got the latest cleats, jerseys, team uniforms, training gear, and World Cup-inspired merchandise. Visit the Soccer Factory in San Antonio, San Marcos, Tomball, or Katy, and gear up for the biggest soccer event in the world, the Soccer Factory, where serious players gear up. See what's new at thesoccerfactory.com today. That's thesoccerfactory.com.
San Antonio's newest sports headquarters, Novo Brewery. Juicy, thick-cut ribeye, picanha prime sirloin, Brazilian empanadas, stacked burgers, and more. This is bring your appetite food. Novo is attached to North Star Mall with late hours. Visit novobrew.com.
Progressive knows you could have easily taken the freeway, but you took the scenic route to see a waterfall and an oddly busy boiled peanut stand. Discovering the unexpected is exactly why you bought an RV, so protect it with a bundle from Progressive. Because although you may be 3 hours behind schedule, you're 6 jars of jam richer and possibly enrolled in a butter-churning workshop. Switch to Progressive and protect your RV, boat, or motorcycle by bundling with your home and auto insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and third-party insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Watch every Team USA World Cup match at Social Spot. Enjoy great screens, great food, snacks, ice-cold beer, and the best World Cup atmosphere in San Antonio. Join the party at 930 Broadway. Social Spot in San Antonio Sports Star, your headquarters for the 2026 World Cup watch parties.
Attention soccer fans. House of Cards and Collectibles on Vance Jackson has the 2026 Panini Prism FIFA Soccer Card Packs in stock. Pull cards from Mbappe, Messi, Kane, Bellingham, and many more. Find autographs and serial numbered cards randomly inserted. House of Cards and Collectibles also has FIFA World Cup sticker albums and packs. Come in today before they're all gone. House of Cards and Collectibles at 2105 Vance Jackson Road.
Veterans and active duty service members, when your call to service ends, your mission doesn't have to. Go from GI to IT in just a few months at My Computer Career. Prepare for a high-demand career in cybersecurity, protecting people, systems, and institutions from real cyber threats. Cyber warriors are needed now. Will you answer the call? Go to mycomputercareer.edu/CWP to learn more. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. An Elite CompTIA certification partner. VA education benefits are available to those who qualify.
Are you having trouble hearing? Hearing loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now, there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one. Rated the best hearing aids of 2026 by Forbes Health, Audion Hearing has the highest quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old $5,000 hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.
Join over 1 million happy customers by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
San Antonio's Sports Center.
Game 4 of the NBA Finals is tonight as the Spurs look to even up their series with the Knicks trailing 2-1. Tip-off from Madison Square Garden set for 7:30, and that game will be televised on ABC. Spurs, they're trying to do what the Carolina Hurricanes did last night, which was even up the Stanley Cup Finals at 2 games apiece with a 5-3 win over the Las Vegas Golden Knights.
Sports Center is brought to you by Buyers Barricades, the Texas Authority in Barricade Rental. BuyersBarricades.com.
From the studios of San Antonio's Sports Star, reaching more sports fans than any station in South Texas. Welcome to the Blitz. 2 decades on the radio, Jason Minnix. 2 decades on TV, Joe Reinagel. 2 San Antonio sports voices you've trusted for years. This is The Blitz on 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
It is The Blitz here on 94.1 at San Antonio Sports Star. Reinagel, drunk on a beach somewhere in Mexico. I'm Jason Minnix. Glad to have you along on this game day Wednesday, live at the Dog Haus Beirgarten in Stone Oak Parkway and 281. Reinagel was texting me last night. He might need a liver transplant when it's all said and done.
Yada blah 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 blah.
That's Joe Reinagel live right now trying to say hump day. Well, he must have the same phone that Devin Brown has. Either way, I mean, it is going to be a interesting game tonight. How you feeling about tonight's game 4? In a lot of ways, I kind of feel like you could say must win for both teams. More pressure though, maybe on the New York Knicks. You could look at it that way, and that's kind of what Devin Brown indicated. Although a lot of pressure on the Spurs because they know if they actually want a chance at winning this thing, realistic chance at winning, they've got to win tonight and get this thing 2-2. It's happened one time that a team was down 3-1 and came back and won the series, and that was the Cavaliers a couple of years ago against the Golden State Warriors. You go back, and it was fun talking with Devin and thinking about the 05 finals. It was 2-0 and then 2-2, and that's what the Spurs need to do tonight to get this series 2-2. You want to talk about it? It's easy to do. 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. You can get me on Twitter at Jason Minnix. You can also comment on our YouTube page. You can get to the YouTube page by going to sasportstar.com and clicking through. Or if you're on YouTube, just search out San Antonio Sports Star. We also have the poll question up about, besides Wemby, because Wemby obviously has to dominate tonight, what player has to step up the most? Who's the most important Spur tonight, not named Wemby? And De'Aaron Fox is at 40%. That's my the way I voted. Steph Castle's at 36%. Dylan Harper at 18%. Devin Vassell is at 7%. Now, I went De'Aaron Fox because he's got to be able to score. I mean, the guy got plenty of good shots in Game 3. He just didn't knock him down. And he's still confident. And he talked about that in the media availability this week. You know, people are asking him what's wrong. Yeah, what's wrong, man? He's getting his shots. They're just not knocking him down. I suppose I appreciate that attitude, but, dude, you got to score. I think about we all judge dudes on the money they're making. The contract he has and what he was brought in here to do isn't necessarily to miss shots, right? He's got to make those shots. But everything else that he's doing, the assists and just the calmness that is there. Steph Castle, and I do think a lot of people are voting for Steph Castle because his defense has to be great on Jalen Brunson and continue to be great on Jalen Brunson. And when you think about tonight's game, as much as I hate to say the officials are a factor, they are. That's just being realistic. How the officials call the game tonight is going to go a long way, I think, in determining who the winner is tonight, especially after all the stuff that we saw the other day. But in talking with Devin Vassell, Mitch Johnson probably should have made this poll. I appreciated Devin being very honest, and again, he understands this a lot more than any of us. But when he's calling plays and that he's not Pop, and Devin said on his podcast all year he has been hard on De'Aaron Fox and he has been hard on Mitch Johnson, and I do think that does continue tonight. So when you look at maybe Mitch Johnson, and obviously he's got to be on his game as well if they're going to be able to get through and make all this work. So certainly something that we have to all watch for in tonight's game and go from there. And again, we're all watching the games tonight. The NBA just sent out a press release. Now, games 1 and 2 were the most watched, right? Until they said, what about game 3? Per NBA PR, Game 3 was the most watched NBA Finals game, Game 3, in 28 years. Bulls Jazz in 1998. They averaged 23.8 million viewers on ABC, and it peaked at 26.3 million viewers at about 10:15, late in the fourth quarter. Most watched NBA Finals Game 3 in 28 years. The NBA Finals have generated more than 5 billion social media views, most ever through 3 games of a final. I look at that and go, all right, well, social media hadn't been around all that long. Global Google searches for the NBA Finals, Knicks and Spurs, at an all-time high. Game 3, most watched program across all of TV since the Super Bowl, according to Nielsen. And the share, 42.7. That is the highest on record for an NBA game. And that was in Game 3. Now, as a Spur fan, what I really like about those numbers versus the numbers that we saw in Games 1 and 2 is in Games 1 and 2, Vic was not very good in those games, right? And we know that. And you had some people that had not watched a lot of Victor Wembanyama, and they thought, well, what does this guy do? What's all the hype for? Because he didn't play all that great. Buddy of mine that lives in New Jersey was texting me saying very similar things. And if you don't watch them all the time and, you watch Game 1 or you watch Game 2 and you think this is what it's all about, I get that. So it was great to see a lot of people tuning in and see Victor dominate the way he did in Game 3, especially early. 15 points in that first half the other night in New York. And that was the Victor that we want to see, what we expect to see, and what I hope we see tonight. That was Vic off at 2 days rest. I am curious what Vic is going to be like today when you look at the minutes that he played the other day. And he played all 12 minutes of the fourth quarter in Game 3. That said, he did get a lot of rest towards the end of game 3. He was on the bench there. And because of all those reviews that they had in the fourth quarter, he was able to get some rest then, which allowed him to stay on the court. But you look at the time off between games 1 and 2, and obviously he didn't get enough rest after the Western Conference Finals, because he started the NBA Finals and the dude looked tired, which is surprising and somewhat disappointing. So something certainly to watch for as this game tips off tonight is where is the energy level for Victor Wembanyama. We know the confidence level of this Spurs team is extremely high. We'll get into that as we continue here on the Blitz. Plus, Bill Schoening, former radio voice of the Spurs, will join us coming up at 4:35. How are the Spurs going to win Game 4? 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. Let's go to the phones. Ryan, you're on the Blitz. What's going on, man?
Yeah, so I think the only way we can win is if we play how we played, how we started off game 3. And then I have to say, Spurs fans are way better than any NBA fans, because the Knicks fans, they cannot win or lose with any grace. They actually attacked the Spurs buzz, and then also attacked Spurs fans when leaving Madison Square Garden.
Well, what we're seeing, we appreciate the call, Ryan. The videos we're seeing out of New York of Spurs fans wearing Spurs gear getting attacked and beat the crap out of on the streets in New York is disgusting. And in one of the videos I saw, looked like a cop was standing right there. And I don't know if that was an NYPD cop or, Paul Blart, some rent-a-cop or whatever. But, dude, you're wearing a police officer uniform and you're watching some guy get beat up. And it's not just one person. You see that gang mentality. That one video where the dude gets kicked from behind and knocked down and then everybody starts stomping on him. That's disgusting. And I don't know if New York can stop that because, there are so many people there. But somebody needs to stop and help. Act like adults. You think about the different watch parties and those huge crowds. And if you're a San Antonio fan living in New York, or you're a Spur fan that lives here and traveled to New York, you're going to wear your gear around the city, and you should be able to do that and feel safe, knowing that you're not going to get attacked for the jersey or shirt or logo that you're wearing. Now, getting a friendly FU from a New Yorker, I mean, that should happen. That's almost expected to happen, and that's about as far as it should go. I saw I was at Game 2 the other night, and a ton of Knicks fans in there. And, some friendly, not so friendly trash talking, but that's about as far as it goes. The pushing and the shoving, but I don't know what to think of that. I mean, the idea that those videos are out there. And, yesterday I'd seen one, and I thought it was an isolated case. And, one idiot. But you've seen multiple of those videos now. And kids need to know that's not cool. It's just wrong. And I hope we don't see that in San Antonio on Saturday, because damn well on Saturday night at the Frostbank Center, there are going to be a lot of Knicks fans there. There are. I mean, games 1 and 2 are prime examples. And when you're hearing what people are selling their tickets for, I can't be mad at you for making that kind of money. I can be, but I get it. And at the same time, think about this. If the Knicks win tonight and they have a chance to close out Saturday night in San Antonio, I wouldn't be surprised if the crowd was 50-50 or even maybe more than that with New York Knicks fans. And I just hope Spurs fans are the way we typically see them. Little trash talk is fine. But beating the crap out of somebody because the jersey they're wearing, that can't happen. That can't happen. It just can't. More of your phone calls coming up. 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. Come hang out with us. Dog Haus Beirgarten in Stone Oak Parkway, and at 281. Great place to watch tonight's Game 4. Great burgers, their sausages, their smash burgers, the hot dogs. The beer looks cold. I see a lot of beers out there. I'll get one in less than 2 hours, hopefully. Let's talk Spurs. Let's talk with you. Call me, 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. You know, nobody ever plans on getting arrested, but it does happen to a lot of people every day for all kinds of reasons. If you get arrested, you want to get out of jail fast, you know the best way to do that. Call my good friend Albert and his great staff at AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121. Text bail to 474747, or you can start the bonding process online, mybestbailbonds.com. You don't have to call attorneys or anybody else to get out of jail, and you don't want to be forced into a PR bond. If the jail offers you a PR bond, make sure you truly understand what all those conditions are before accepting it. Your best option for stress-free bail bonds is AA Best Bail Bonds. Nobody beats their price. They offer payment plans, have a free shuttle service. They are discreet and confidential, and open 24/7 with offices all over San Antonio and Texas, services nationwide. So if you're up in Dallas, down in Corpus, anywhere in between, license number 149, call AA Best Bail Bonds, 210-225-2121, or go online at mybestbailbonds.com.
Dave Ramsey here. The only water softener I recommend is a quality water softener from Connecticut. It really is the last water softener you'll ever own.
ConnecticutSA.com.
And tell them Dave Ramsey sent you.
Injuries happen, and when they do, skip the ER and get to the Ortho Now Injury Clinic by TSAOG Orthopedics and Spine. Ortho Now provides walk-in care for injuries like broken bones, dislocations, sprains, and strains. Conveniently located in the Corey area with extended hours Monday through Saturday with on-site x-ray casting and bracing, Ortho Now has everything you need to treat your injury, and best of all, no urgent care or emergency room copay. Learn more online at TSAOG.com.
San Antonio, this Saturday at 4 p.m., catch the Gunslingers Superhero Game at Freeman Coliseum. The first 1,000 fans get a free custom superhero cape. Bring the family for nonstop action and fun. Tickets at sagunslingers.com. Be a hero Saturday.
Hi, everybody. Joe Reinigle here for Window Nation. You know, it is June. Summer is here along with those hot summer days, and that means constant AC use and high energy bills. It is time to upgrade your home's windows this month during Window Nation's Buy 4, Get 4 free sale. Imagine replacing all your windows with new energy-efficient ones and getting half of them for free. Plus, you could even get them with no money down and no monthly payment or interest for 2 years. Don't wait to put an end to your window problems. Sale ends soon, so visit windownation.com to book that consultation.
Harry Douglas here to tell you about Fruity Rainbow 5-Hour Energy Shots. It's a fruity candy flavor explosion, and I mean explosion. Fruity Rainbow 5-Hour Energy Shots, a zero sugar treat that's sweet tooth approved. These can take care of my candy cravings and provides a tasty caffeine kick without all the sugar. Fruity Rainbow 5-Hour Energy Shots. Get candy flavored chaos with Fruity Rainbow 5-Hour Energy Shots. Available online at 5hourenergy.com or Amazon.
Lanny went to college and racked up huge debt.
A little bit over $100,000.
For a degree he couldn't use? Now what?
I had a friend that went to my computer career.
They even helped him get hired immediately after graduation.
One of the things I love about IT is that you can work from anywhere you want.
You could become an IT pro in just months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu. My Computer Career, an elite CompTIA certification partner.
It worked for me, and I know it can work for you.
This is one student's experience. Individual results
vary. The burrito is fire.
Hi, this is Maya.
And I'm Antonio. And the little thing we love about the Chick-fil-A hash brown scrambled burrito
is that it fuels our morning.
It's the full package.
You have the chicken, you have the eggs, and then you add these hash browns for a nice little crunch.
The chicken's always nice. It's crispy, it's juicy. And the cheeses, they melt together in a beautiful way.
And it gives me energy. It's perfect.
Order the Chick-fil-A hash brown scrambled burrito and Simply Orange Juice on the Chick-fil-A app today. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
Hey, Jen, you ready for a girls' night in?
Absolutely. What's on the agenda?
Oh, a little wine, a little JTV.
Jewelry television? I've never shopped on TV.
Are you kidding? You're missing out on amazing jewelry. Gold, pearls, lab-grown diamonds, and totally affordable. And right now, new customers get $25 off their first purchase of $50 or more when you shop on TV or at jtv.com.
25 off? Why are we standing here?
You turn on the TV. I'll grab my tablet.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer at a beverage manufacturing plant, he starts his day knowing every line is ready to run because Grainger delivers the industrial-grade products he needs to keep mixers, conveyors, and packaging equipment moving. With Grainger's vast selection of bearings, belts, and motors, he keeps operations running smoothly, so nothing grinds to a halt. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Let's be honest. Watching the Rangers is better when you got something on the line. On Rangers game days, call your shot with the morning huddles. Rangers double dinger payday. Pick the Ranger you think will send one into the seats. He hits one, you're going to a Rangers game. He hits two. Now you've just been upgraded. Tickets and a hotel stay. That's what we call getting paid. Wake up with the Morning Huddle. Make your pick and win with the Morning Huddle's Rangers Double Dinger Payday. 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star, South Texas home of the Texas Rangers. It's the Blitz with Jason and Joe on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Game 4 tonight. Can the Spurs get this thing even before it comes back to San Antonio? Let's talk about it here on the Blitz on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. Ryan Engel's on vacation. I'm Jason Minnix, live at the Dog Haus Beirgarten, Stone Oak Parkway in 281. Come hang out with us. Watch the game tonight. Beer's cold. See a lot of beers out there that look really cold. My water is very cold. I imagine the beers are as well. I'll get one soon. You can have one now. On your way home, stop up here, 281 and Stone Oak Parkway. It's a great time, and obviously it's going to be a great spot to watch the game tonight. The idea of what the Spurs need to do tonight to get a win, and I said this earlier when we were visiting with Devin Brown, this series kind of has that feel of that Detroit series in 2005. And Devin said, not so fast. Let's see what happens tonight. But, you go back and all those games were close or at least the first 4 games. Then you had a blowout. But it went 7. In this series, the first 3 games have all been close. I know game 1 ended up being a 10-point Knicks win, but that was a 1-point game with just over 2 minutes to play. And then you look at the 1-point win for the Knicks in game 2 and the 4-point win for the Spurs in game 3. What do you expect to happen tonight? 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. Let's go to the phones. Frank, you're on the Blitz. What's going on, man?
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Guys, thank you for doing what you do. We really appreciate it here in San Antonio.
Thank you.
I really believe that the San Antonio Spurs are going to get this game tonight. The reason being is the tenacity, the will to win, and the desire to achieve their goals. We can say that the New York Knicks has the exact same mindset, but I firmly believe that it is the San Antonio Spurs time. I was talking with my son Gregory a couple of days ago, and I mentioned to him that the NBA is Wembanyama is going to be the new face of the NBA. And I said, I kind of want to retract that. I think we will have a new face of the NBA, and it won't be Victor Wembanyama. It will be the San Antonio Spurs collectively. I think they are changing the dynamic of NBA basketball. This young team is vicious. This young team is focused, driven, and they're changing the game right before our eyes, and we really don't even realize it.
Frank, I appreciate the phone call and you tuning in. And again, you're not wrong in a sense, although Wemby is going to be the face of the NBA. And the Spurs might end up being that globally famous team that Golden State became because you've got a player like Victor and the ebbs and flows. But Wemby is the face. The NBA sells individual stars, and Vic is already that. He's already that in Europe. When you think about what Tony Parker or Manu Ginobili meant to France and Argentina, respectively, I think Wemby's on a completely different level because of the social media state that we're in. Tony Parker didn't have Twitter and Instagram and TikTok reels and all that kind of stuff. You look at the endorsement deals that Vic already has. Plus, he's just such a unique person. When you sit down and listen to a lot of the interviews that he does that aren't basketball related, you get a different guy. He is so thoughtful, usually with his answers on press conferences. He is curious. He talks about all kinds of other stuff. The fact that he's a 22-year-old guy that when he doesn't have a game wants to be in bed by 9 o'clock and he turns off the phone. Most 22-year-olds don't want to ever have the phone off. Hell, I'm 50, whatever, and the phone's always right there. I mean, he's just such a different cat. And when you look at the television ratings for this series, and in the last segment, I told you about the press release that the NBA just set out. It's not just because it's New York that is in the NBA Finals. Having New York helps, but you look at what Vic did and the numbers and the TV ratings that NBC was able to do in the Western Conference Finals. Oklahoma City didn't do that last year, and they didn't do that last year when they won the NBA championship. It's because of Victor Wembanyama and people that want to watch him. And then you will have other guys like a Dylan Harper and a Steph Castle who will become stars because of their lead singer, if you will, in Victor Wembanyama. De'Aaron Fox, all those guys are going to be at a different level. And I'll tell you it's different, too, because of something that Tony Parker used to say that, if the Spurs were doing what the Spurs did in New York or L.A., they would be like the Beatles. And Tony Parker, I do believe, was the one of the big three Spur players that wanted that kind of fame and that kind of attention. Tim Duncan never wanted it. Tim Duncan didn't want to do interviews. He did the interviews when he had to. Tim Duncan, I don't know how much money that guy could have made if he would have done every endorsement deal presented to him, but that was never Tim's thing. Nothing wrong with that. Manu Ginobili, take it, leave it. I think Tony Parker wanted it. Remember, he wanted to be a rap star and do all these different kinds of things, but they also didn't have social media. This Spurs group, this new Spurs Big Three, will surpass what the original Big Three did in San Antonio in popularity and fame, partly because Victor embraces it. He was a pro in France as a teenager. He got here and all the attention, not new to him. It was at a different level, but he already knew how to manage being famous. He didn't have to adjust to being famous because he's been groomed for this. He's been that dude since he was, mid-teens. 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. Hey, Tyler, you're on the Blitz. What's going on, man?
Hey, thanks for having me. I just think Spurs are going to take it in 7 games. I think it's going to go the full series.
Go the full series. So win tonight, probably win Saturday, lose Game 6 in New York, and win it back here in San Antonio in Game 7?
Exactly. I think they're going to do it at home. I think they want to do it in front of a home crowd. And I really think, like you're saying, the Big Three really does pull a lot more of the community aspect. And I think they're going to want to do it at home. Obviously, they want to do it as soon as possible. But I really believe New York is going to come hit back as hard as they can. But I think we're going to win it.
I appreciate you, Tyler. Although, as much as I'll be in the Grand Cayman, so it doesn't really matter to me. It's not like I'm going to be in the locker room. I was hoping they would take care of this in 5 selfishly because it's been a while since I've had that champagne burn the eyes, and it's just so much fun. And I know as I say that, I'm lucky enough to be able to have that opportunity. But the way New York has acted, man, I hope the Spurs are able to close this out in New York. You talk about a couple of middle fingers to those New Yorkers. I think that would be fantastic if the Spurs celebrated 2 championships on their floor. But I'm with you. Get it done as quickly as possible. Albert, you're on the Blitz. What's going on, man?
So this is my hopeful theory as to what they're going to win. Whatever mistakes that came from their youth, from their inexperience, I think they've gotten over it. I think they've learned, and really none of the role players had a great game except for Harper, and I think they're due.
Albert, you say that, and I appreciate the call. You're not wrong. I mean, they looked, for the first time in this postseason, young and inexperienced and made young, dumb mistakes at the end of games 1 and game 2, right? And they somehow were able to deal with that and make those clutch plays down the stretch of game 3, and they were able to walk away with the win. the starts in all these games have been great. Closing out the first half has been an issue. I mean, they had that great start the other night in New York, and the Knicks had the lead at halftime. Spurs seem to play better when facing adversity, but those young, am I ready for the moment, bonehead mistakes, like Wemby's pass to Steph Castle off his back and that brutal turnover, we didn't see those in Game 3. And I thought, man, after what we saw in Games 1 and 2, if the young youthfulness of this team shows up, would they be able to handle everything that was going on in New York? And they handled it well. They seemed to thrive when facing that adversity. Seeing the crap around their buses and how they don't have police escorts around that bus is beyond me. But just all of it, they seem to handle it well, and they did the other night. Will they tonight? Let's get one more call before we get to a break, and Bill Schoening right around the corner. Hey, Larry, you're on the Blitz. What's going on, man?
Hey, guys, just tuned in and heard you asking the question, what's it going to take for the Spurs to win tonight? 3 words, shut down Brunson. And easier said than done, I know, but we did a pretty good job of it with SGA in Oklahoma City. What's your thoughts on shutting Mr. B down?
Well, Larry, quite honestly, they've done that. I know he has scored a lot of points, but look at the shots that he's taking to score a lot of points. And unlike SGA, J-Dub wasn't there for SGA. Other than Caruso, there was nobody else to really score and be a threat. And New York has that. I mean, Karl Anthony Towns dominated games 1 and 2. He was very pedestrian in Game 3, but OG had a great game. There are other people that can score for the New York Knicks. It's Jalen Brunson when he just tries to take over and take all the shots. I kind of like him doing that. If he's going to score 25, 30 points but take 30 shots to get there, the Spurs are doing a great job on him. If you look up and Brunson's sitting there with 38 points and is taking 13 shots, he's having one hell of a night. I think the defense on Jalen Brunson in this series has been fantastic, but he's got other people that he can get involved that can score the basketball. I don't know. I mean, Steph Castle and that crew trying to stop Jalen Brunson, the way he has been shooting the ball, I think they've done a really good job on him. I mean, you got to look more than just how many points did he end up with. Now, that said, in the fourth quarter, Jalen Brunson has been great. He was great in the fourth quarter of Game 1. And really, while he struggled with his shot in Game 3, he made some big shots in Game 3. So sometimes it's when those makes are happening, no matter what his shooting percentage are, that you have to factor in. It is the Blitz here on 94.1 at San Antonio Sports Star, live at the Dog Haus Beirgarten on Stone Oak Parkway. It's the Stone Oak location of Dog Haus right at 281 and Stone Oak Parkway. We're here till 6, then, of course, sticking around and watching the game. So come hang out with us here. We'll talk more about Game 4 with former Spurs broadcaster Bill Schoening. He joins us next here on the Blitz on 94.1 at San Antonio Sports Star.
Boy, sports here in San Antonio has just been phenomenal. Spurs in the playoffs. We've got the World Cup coming up as well, and there is no better place to watch any and all of it than Novo Brewery. It is there at North Star Mall. What you do is you come in from the Rector Street entrance. Novo Brewery has its own entrance from the parking lot, or you can come in through the mall. Either way, you're going to get to Novo Brewery, and once you're in there, you're going to love this place. Whether it's the cocktails that they can get you, because they do have a full bar, they've got all kinds of beer on tap, domestic beer, and they've also got 60 craft beers on tap. Then the food, that's another story entirely. They have got everything from wings to picanha skewers to burgers, sandwiches, all the way up to ribeye steaks. It is a fantastic place to take your friends, take your family. They can accommodate pretty much any kind of size crew that you have. Go out there and check them out, because once you do, it is going to be a part of your sports viewing rotation. You want to check them out before you head out there? You can do that. NovoBrew.com. That is NOVO Brew.com.
'Twas the night before Father's Day, and all through the house, Dad slept in his recliner, completely passed out. Magellan Outdoors and Titleist win the night as Dad dreams of gifts from Academy, the kind he'd like. Because tomorrow's not just Father's Day, see, it's Dad Christmas at Academy. Line up before the doors open on Saturday, June 13th to score a promo card worth up to $500. Academy Sports and Outdoors. Fun can't lose. Select Austin and San Antonio Academy stores. No purchase necessary. Open to Texas residents 18 or older. Visit academy.com/official rules.
What does it mean to work with one of the largest personal injury law firms in Texas? At Thomas J. Henry, it means we can take cases all the way to trial when others would have accepted a low settlement offer. It means Thomas J. Henry can put our team of legal minds, investigators, and medical experts to work for you. It means you get personal attention and access to our team when you need us. Visit thomasjhenrylaw.com. Thomas J. Henry, the name you know, the firm you trust. Principal Office, San Antonio.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter.com/radio.
ZipRecruiter. San Antonio this Saturday, June 13th, 4 p.m. The Gunslingers are bringing the action to Freeman Coliseum for an epic superhero-themed game. Suit up, bring the family, and join us as we celebrate our Spurs during this action-packed afternoon of indoor football. First 1,000 fans get a limited edition superhero cape. And if you're heading to the big game later that evening right next door, come early, catch the Gunslingers first at 4, then just walk over. It's the perfect doubleheader. Tickets are going fast. Get yours now at sagunslingers.com or Ticketmaster.
From the FIFA World Cup to competitive business environments, grand ambitions lead to game-changing achievements. At Bank of America, we're there to support businesses at every step, providing insights and expertise to help you gain an edge.
He shoots, he scores!
What would you like the power to do? Explore winning business solutions at BofA.com/gamechangers. Bank of America, official bank of the FIFA World Cup 2026.
This Father's Day, join the Blitz live at Coldplay Cove in Stone Oak. Enjoy Dad and Me sports activities, coffee tastings, giveaways, raffles, and family fun built for modern families. Grab your tickets now through the events page at coldplaycove.com.
It's the Morning Huddle with A.J. Hoffman and Rob Thompson.
Coming up on the Morning Huddle, the series headed back to San Antonio. How the Spurs looking going into Game 5?
Do they need to win 2 straight or 3 straight? We'll talk about how they got there and what they got to do. Get here early. The party starts at 6.
It's the Morning Huddle with A.J. Hoffman and Rob Thompson. Morning 6 to 10 on 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star. The Spurs and the Knicks. This is where you come to talk about the finals. 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
It is where you come to talk about the NBA Finals. Big game for tonight as the Spurs try to get this thing even at 2 games apiece. It is the Blitz here on 94.1 at San Antonio Sports Star. Joe Reinagel on vacation. I'm Jason Minnix, live at the Dog Haus Beirgarten, the Stone Oak location, Stone Oak and 281. You know, Reinegel's on vacation. Our good friend Bill Schoening is on permanent vacation now, but still always talking Spurs because, you know, when your job is most everybody's hobby, even when you retire, you still talk San Antonio Spurs. And Bill Schoening, a former voice of the Spurs, joining us on the Buyers Barricades guest line. And I know you've probably been asked 1,000 times, Bill, and I won't go there. Man, you retired a year too soon for this run. I know you didn't. We talked about it when you decided that you had had enough. But, man, I know you're still watching and a big fan of what you're seeing.
Oh, absolutely. And I think, Jason, in fairness, we all expected a lot of improvement from this team, but I don't think any of us expected this, right? I mean, who could have predicted a run to the NBA Finals after winning less than 40 games last year and not having made the playoffs for 6 straight years? So I'm thrilled. It's absolutely, exhilarating to see this team do this. It's very unexpected. I think maybe a year or two ahead of schedule, at least 1 year ahead of schedule for sure. But I certainly am enjoying it. But, I've got 4 championship rings. I got to call every game during the Big Three with Tony, Manu, and Tim, so I have no regrets at all.
Absolutely not. Well, you talk about no planning. There was a time during that great run that the Big Three had that, in this business, you are not going to take vacation in June. And for the last several years, you could take vacation even in May if you wanted to. And Joe's on a beach in Mexico right now. I'll be on a beach in the Grand Caymans next week because neither one of us expected the Spurs to be playing in the NBA Finals. And neither one of us
I understand
trip
completely.
insurance.
Yep. I'm going in Canada if they go all the way. So I'm going to miss the final. If they go to 7 games, I will miss Game 7. But it's been a fun run. And it's funny. I don't know if you remember this, Jason, but when I took the Spurs job in 2001, I had done Longhorn baseball for a dozen years. My first year gone, they win the College World Series. And ironically enough, they're at the College World Series right now. The Longhorns, for the 39th time, are in Omaha for the College World Series.
Maybe it's you. You retire, and there they go. I mean, that's, kind of an interesting fact. And I like that. Now, Bill, you look at this team and this game. I was talking to Devin Brown earlier in the show and asked him, how much does this series remind him of the 2005 finals against the Detroit Pistons? Because this kind of reminds me of that. Now, through the first couple games, if the Spurs win tonight, it's 2-2. It will feel even more like the series. But the first couple games were all so close and could have gone either way. And it just kind of has that vibe of 2005 to me.
The big difference, I think, Jason, was the 2 games back in Detroit were both blowouts. Remember, before Game 5 and Robert Horry's miracle shot there in Game 5, those 2 games, Games 3 and 4, I think Manu got hurt in Game 3, if I recall correctly, and they did not play very well in those 2 games after 2 decisive wins in the first 2 home games. So a little bit different, but I get your point, and very, very possible Game 5 coming up, which, of course, is always critical and pivotal and whatever other word you want to use there when it's 2-2. But they got to take care of business tonight. And I'm confident. I think all the pressure right now, Jason, squarely on the shoulders of the New York Knicks.
It's interesting because I was going to ask that. It feels a little must-win-ish for both teams because obviously the Spurs want to get the win to get it even at 2. If they go down 3-1, it's all but over, right? The Knicks want to come here and have a chance to celebrate Saturday night in San Antonio. Why do you think there's more pressure on New York tonight than San Antonio?
I think because of all the hype and all the buildup and the 53 years between championships, I think all of that is on the shoulders of the Knicks. I think the entire city is feeling the pressure, all the stuff that happened after Game 3. I think it's a big, big night at Madison Square Garden, and I would not be surprised at all, Jason, to see the Spurs pull this off tonight.
Well, and me too, because they are, while young, mature. Now, inexperience, I think, showed big time in Game 1 and 2, especially down the stretch. Wemby had that awful turnover that if the Spurs don't win is going to get compared to, I don't know, Derek Fisher's .4 shot or the Manu foul on Dirk, some of those just horrible moments in Spurs history if they don't win this series. But they seem to face adversity and play better basketball. We saw that in Game 3 in New York.
We've seen it throughout the playoffs, Jason. Young teams don't usually bounce back from adversity with lack of experience, but they've been able to do that series in and series out. They've faced some adversity in each series so far. So I think that Mitch Johnson's done a marvelous job. This is his first full year as a head coach, with him behind the wheel of this whole operation. So he deserves a lot of credit, too.
Bill Schoening, former voice of the San Antonio Spurs, joining us here on the Blitz, talking about tonight's Game 4. Our poll question today on our YouTube page, Bill, outside of Wemby, who's the most important Spur tonight? Is it Castle, Vassell, Fox, or Harper? I'll tell you what the poll is saying right now on YouTube after I get your thought.
I think it's Castle. I think it's always going to be Castle because of his perimeter defense. Regardless of who they put on Brunson, they change it up a little bit. Whatever they do, Castle's going to be important at both ends of the floor.
I went De'Aaron Fox because while he is getting his volume of shots that's normal, he's not knocking them down. Even though he says he feels good because he's getting his spot and the shots that he wants, but I think that dude has to score tonight.
I don't disagree with that at all. They're all important. Let's be honest. If Wemby's not going to score 40, then somebody's got to pick up the slack. Or they might be able to just get the ball to Victor and have him do his 40-20 game tonight. Who knows? It could happen.
When you think about, Bill, your time calling the Spurs and the fact that you called 5 different NBA finals, the atmosphere and everything that goes into the NBA finals is so different than a regular season game or even other playoff games. What is going on behind the scenes that most fans are unaware of?
I think there's so much stuff going on outside that the players and the coaches and even the broadcasters to a certain extent, because we travel with them, you kind of insulate yourself, right? You kind of stay away from everybody, and you don't want to get caught up in all the stuff that's going on. I know in Miami, both in 13 and 14, I felt that way because the Miami Heat, they were rock stars, right? Everywhere they went. Of course, the Spurs were stars as well. They had their own stars on the team and future Hall of Famers. So everywhere you went, there was a lot of cameras, a lot of attention. And, of course, there's all that extra stuff, Jason, on the floor. I remember doing the 05. You were just talking about the 05 team. Sean Elliott did color for me during that series. And I forget who it was. I think it was Elvis Presley's daughter. Was out there doing some gyrations and practice and whatever. And I think Sean said, can we finally get the rappers and the dancers and the singers off the floor and play some basketball? And that's the way I felt, too. It's like, can we get all this other stuff out of the way and just play basketball?
Well, and, Greg Popovich was that way with all the pomp and circumstance. And as well as Pop, the fact that he has been around, and apparently, according to some stuff I've been reading on The Athletic, before the plane left, Pop didn't go with the team to New York, according to the reports, and we didn't see him at the Garden the other night. But he did get on the plane, addressed the team, and then talked with Wemby and some other guys before the plane took off. What do you think Pop's influence is on this group at this point?
Well, I think that, he has kind of overseen this entire operation for such a long time that he feels a certain responsibility, a certain connection to these guys, and for good reason. And they feel a connection to him, too. So I think it's very, very important for him to stay plugged in and for them to hear whatever words of wisdom he has after all he is the whole time when he was coaching NBA history.
Well, and again, you say that. I know Antonio Daniels the other day said he saw Pop up in the suite, and he asked Pop if he misses it. And he's like, yeah, I wish I was down there right now. But he can still offer those words of wisdom. And a guy like Wemby seems to embrace that and seek that kind of knowledge out in what Pop is saying. And the fact that Mitch Johnson is not at all bothered by that and encourages it as well. It's such an interesting dynamic, and I think that's a byproduct of promoting from within as opposed to maybe hiring somebody from outside the family.
Absolutely. And as you know, Jason, you've been covering this team a long time. It's all part of the culture. And Mitch is very much a part of the culture because, he started with the Austin Spurs. I remember when Mitch was coaching the Austin Spurs before he came up to San Antonio. I think he was down there for 3 years in Austin. So, he certainly has paid his dues as a coach in this organization.
Bill Schoening, the former voice of the Spurs, always a musician, even when you were working. And now that you're retired, you're playing a lot more gigs. And you got a really cool gig tomorrow night out at Sam's Burger Joint with Jacob Toby. And then another cool gig with Sean Elliott, who won't be playing guitar, hopefully, at the Brontex, man. So you're staying busy in retirement. Tell us about what you got coming up.
Yeah, tomorrow night's a music gig. Jacob Toby is the opening act. He's got him Jeff Duarte. He's got a great band. They're on the bill as well. My full band's coming down from Austin. Got a great horn player in Steve Viggs. I think it's going to be a lot of fun tomorrow night. Might be some surprise guests. Who knows? But we'll get you ready for Game 5 at Sam's Burger Joint. Everything starts around 6:30 with the opening act, and I think we go on about 8:15, 8:30. And then Friday is not a music show. That's a stage show with the Coyote, Rob Whitehall, the guy who played the Coyote for years, Sean Elliott, and yours truly. And we're just basically going to tell stories for about an hour and a half. And we've got plenty of stories to tell, believe me.
Well, I can imagine. So tomorrow night, just a gig, right? And that's a lot of fun. And Jacob was on the other day. Apparently he's got some original music, not just covers. So that'll be a fun, very Spurs-filled night. Although Jacob's going to be tired because he's got an early flight tomorrow morning from New York back to San Antonio. But still, that's going to be fun.
We're counting on him making it,
Yeah. Well, story time with Sean at the Brontex and the Coyote and you. I don't know if there's enough time. I mean, you guys might wrap up by tip-off for Game 6. How is this going to go?
Well, I've had to edit some of my stories, Jason. I've been going over some stories and trying to edit them, some from in my book, some other stories. So all I know is that when I look at all of these stories that Sean's going to tell and Rob's going to tell, I got to sneak mine in. So I've had to edit it down. I got a few.
I'm curious. Have you guys rehearsed this, or are you just going to show up and go?
We have done no rehearsal. Now, the band, we've rehearsed, okay?
Sure.
That's important. You got to be in tune for the band. But we're kind of winging it. I think I know a lot of Sean's stories. He knows a lot of mine. And Rob said, let's just go out there. And of course, we'll do a Q&A. So, we'll be getting ready for everybody for Game 5.
Both are going to be fun, obviously, for the gig tomorrow night at Sam's Burger Joint, samsburgerjoint.com. For the Friday deal at the Brontex in New Braunfels, how do people get tickets for that?
Brontex.org is their website. It's right downtown New Braunfels. I've never been there, to be honest with you, Jason. I've been outside the building, but not in. It looks like a beautiful theater. So that'll be a lot of fun on Friday, I'm sure.
And I know this was actually rescheduled. I mean, we talk about this unexpected playoff run. Sean was committed to this. I forget what the original date was. And all of a sudden, the Spurs team is still playing. And I'm actually impressed that you're working this while the finals are still going on, getting it actually off the ground and done.
Yeah, we had to figure out a date that wasn't going to conflict. It actually conflicted Game 6 of the Oklahoma series back on May 28th, I believe it was. So we had to reschedule because when they first originally scheduled it, again, nobody was expecting the Spurs to be playing this deep into the playoffs.
So what's your gut for tonight's Game 4?
I'd like to see Wemby established early. I'd like the Spurs get off to a good start and put some pressure on these guys because, as I said before, I really think that the pressure is on the Knicks. And if the Spurs can have them doubting and get them maybe in a tough spot early, I think maybe you start to hear some boos and the crowd starts turning on them. I can see all of this happening. I really can. But for a Spurs successful night, I think a good start early is important.
Bill Schoening, enjoy retirement. Enjoy Canada next week. Appreciate you jumping on this afternoon.
Appreciate you, Jason. Thank you.
The great Bill Schoening here on the Blitz, joining on the Buyers Barricades guest line, where they provide traffic control, rental, and sales for San Antonio and beyond online. buyersbarricades.com. And you think about this game tonight, you listen to Bill Schoening, more pressure in his mind on the New York Knicks, and I get that. It feels must-winish for both teams. And, but Bill's leaning more towards the Knicks. Which way are you leaning? 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. You can also comment on the YouTube page. Get there through sasportsstart.com. And while you're on the YouTube page, you can vote in the poll. Besides Wemby, who's the most important Spur tonight? He thought Steph Castle because of his defense. I go De'Aaron Fox because he has got to score. De'Aaron Fox has been up and down as far as his scoring goes, and I think tonight is going to be one of those nights, especially in the fourth quarter, where De'Aaron Fox is going to have to make some shots. Let's go back to early in the postseason when Mitch Johnson said something along the lines that while he didn't challenge De'Aaron Fox, he did remind him that he doesn't have to wait until the fourth quarter to get things going and try to take over a game. He can shoot and he can try to get his shot, especially when it comes to him in the natural flow of the offense, and take it. And when De'Aaron Fox gets going early, like Wemby, everything else seems to fall into place and run very smoothly. Establish Wemby in the paint early, which was by design what you saw the Spurs do at the beginning of Game 3 in New York. And his first 4 were dunks or layups, and he only took 4 3-point attempts. Wemby did in the entire game. I like that from Wemby, and north of 30 points. He's going to have to be close to 40, if not over 40, and have one of those Madison Square Garden moments like tonight, because the Knicks don't want to come to San Antonio 2-2, and that crowd is going to be a little bit more Knick type crowd tonight when you look at what the ticket prices are compared to what you saw in Game 1. Game 1 was still wild, but the ticket prices where they were felt a little bit more corporate type, almost like what you get in a Super Bowl, because most people can't afford those kind of tickets and what those prices were. You know, seeing a story today, it looked like the ticket prices for tonight were about half of what they were for Game 3. So I do expect to see a little bit more of the crazier New York fans. And obviously, with the president not there, it will be easier for everybody to get in and out of the building from a security standpoint. So we'll see. But your thoughts on today? We got about an hour left in the show here at the Dog Haus Beirgarten in Stone Oak, right at Stone Oak Parkway and at 281. And, of course, sticking around and watching the game after. Your calls as we continue here on the Blitz. 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776.
94.1 San Antonio Sports Star is KTFM Floresville and streaming online at sasportstar.com.
Let me tell you about Window Nation. You know, it is June now, and the weather is getting hot. You know it's only going to get hotter, and you know exactly what that means. It means you're going to be running your air conditioner pretty much nonstop. Well, if you're like me, you don't want all that cold air going to the outside. But if your windows are bad, you know exactly that's what's going to happen. And that just adds to the money you're spending on your electric bill. Look, Window Nation is a great place to get those windows fixed, get them replaced. And right now is a great time to do that. They've got a sale going on. It's called Buy 4, Get 4 Free. Can you imagine replacing all your windows and getting half of them for free? That's a crazy deal. Plus, you can get them with no money down, no monthly payment or interest for 2 years. What a deal. You know this deal can't last that long. But Window Nation, they back them up with a lifetime warranty. They're also rated A+ with the Better Business Bureau. It is a great company to do business with. They're going to take care of you, whether it's now, a month from now, or 20 years from now, if you've got their windows in your house. Take advantage of Window Nation's Buy 4, Get 4 Free sale. It's going on right now. Now, the sale's going to end soon. It has to. Too good of a deal. Go to windownation.com. That's windownation.com. That's how you book your consultation.
Hello, my name is Jason Thompson. I'm an attorney here in San Antonio and have been practicing law here since 1994. And in the past 30 plus years, I've helped hundreds of San Antonians injured by negligent drivers. If you've been injured in a car or truck collision, call me, 210-900-0400. I did want to let you know of a very disturbing trend I've seen that you really need to be aware of. If an attorney or someone acting on that attorney's behalf calls you after a traffic collision, with very limited exceptions, that is called barratry or solicitation. It's a crime and is unethical under our state bar rules. Do not answer these phone calls. Do not hire an unethical attorney. Neither I nor anyone in my firm will ever call you after a traffic collision. If you need my help, and if you've been injured in a traffic collision, I think you do, you'll need to call me. My name is Jason Thompson. My number is 210-900-0400, or go to my website, alawyerforus.com.
We expect our information in real time. US Med carries continuous glucose monitors, which provide real-time readings of blood glucose levels. US Med is an approved provider for Medicare and over 500 private insurers. So call 888-665-0696 today for a free insurance and Medicare benefits check as easy as... That's 888-665-0696.
The countdown to the World Cup is on, and the Soccer Factory is your home for everything soccer. From youth players to lifelong fans, they've got the latest cleats, jerseys, team uniforms, training gear, and World Cup-inspired merchandise. Visit the Soccer Factory in San Antonio, San Marcos, Tomball, or Katy, and gear up for the biggest soccer event in the world, the Soccer Factory, where serious players gear up. See what's new at thesoccerfactory.com today. That's thesoccerfactory.com.
San Antonio, this Saturday at 4 p.m., catch the Gunslingers Superhero Game at Freeman Coliseum. The first 1,000 fans get a free custom superhero cape. Bring the family for nonstop action and fun. Tickets at sagunslingers.com. Be a hero Saturday.
Buyers Barricades is proud to provide traffic control, rental, and sales for work zones and events in the San Antonio area and beyond. Buyers Barricades, the Texas authority in barricade rental. Learn more online at buyersbarricades.com. That's buyersbarricades.com.
This World Cup season, there's only one place to experience every USA match with fellow fans, Social Spot in San Antonio. Join them for the ultimate World Cup watch parties featuring giant screens, delicious food, tasty snacks, ice cold beer, and the electrifying atmosphere of soccer's biggest tournament. Bring your friends, wear your red, white, and blue, and cheer on Team USA every step of the way. Catch all the action at Social Spot, 930 Broadway. Social Spot and San Antonio Sports Star, your home for the 2026 World Cup watch parties. Don't miss a minute of the excitement.
In the military, the mission was clear. You knew what to do. Now, the mission has changed. Stepping into civilian life isn't about finding a job. It's finding your purpose.
I wanted a career that would leverage the skills and discipline I gained in the military. IT just felt right.
My Computer Career offers class schedules that fit into your life and skills in high demand. Put your VA benefits to work. Visit mycomputercareer.edu/CWP to jumpstart your IT career today. An elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
San Antonio's Sports Center.
We are 2.5 hours away from the start of Game 4 as the Spurs look to even things up with the New York Knicks. From Madison Square Garden, they currently trail 2-1. Victor Wembanyama did not get an upgrade to a flagrant after review of his shove of Jalen Brunson in Game 3. Tip-off for tonight's game set for 7:30, and it'll be televised on ABC.
Sports Center brought to you by SAPDcareers.com. The San Antonio Police Department is always hiring.
From the studios of San Antonio's Sports Star, reaching more sports fans than any station in South Texas. Welcome to the Blitz. 2 decades on the radio, Jason Minnix. 2 decades on TV, Joe Reinagle. 2 San Antonio sports voices you've trusted for years. This is the Blitz on 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
It is the Blitz here on 94.1 at San Antonio Sports Star. Ryan Eagle is on vacation. I'm Jason Minnix. Glad to have you along on this game day. Big game for tonight. We're live this afternoon out at Dog Haus Beirgarten in Stone Oak Parkway and at 281. Jeff, the GM, just came by and said, I got a beer for you. I said, dude, I got to wait an hour. And it's poured. And it's sitting over there right now where the sun is coming through the glass. It just looks beautiful. And then I look over, a guy over here is having a burger. And I had a hot dog for lunch. Of course I did. It's called the Dog Haus. The hot dogs here are great. I'm looking at that burger. I know what's for dinner tonight. Holy crap. Come check this place out. Stone Oak Parkway and at 281. The beers, the TVs, the dogs are great. I'll tell you tomorrow how the burgers are because I know that's what's going to be for dinner. That burger looks great over there, man. Thanks for teasing. And he's at a table, and everybody there is drinking beer, and then he's eating a burger. He's doing both. Everybody else is drinking their calories, Eric. It goes that way. Good stuff. Come hang out with us here. Dog Haus Beirgarten in Stone Oak. How you feeling about tonight's game? The keys, if you will, for the Spurs to win. We've talked about. I mean, it feels must-winish for both in a lot of ways. All right, because when it's 2-1. If a team goes up 3-1, they're going to win the series. Especially in the finals, there's one team that was down 3-1, and that was Cleveland when they were able to come back in 7 games and beat the Golden State Warriors. If it's 2-2, man, all the pressure, you just look. Game 5, if you're a Spur fan, you want them to win tonight because you don't want the Knicks the chance to celebrate in San Antonio on Saturday night. It kind of feels must-winish for both. 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. Let's go to the phones. Joe, you're on the Blitz. What's going on, man?
Hey, what's going on, brother? I'll tell you what, go Spurs, go. I think that, of course, Wemby playing good is important, but the key tonight, in my mind, is Castle, both offensively and defensively, because when Castle gets going and he's energized, man, we all the guards and Wemby feed off him so much, and it's going to help out so much. It's going to help to kill that stadium, and the celebrities can work against them if they get down and Castle gets going. I think it's nothing but Castle is going to be our best bet.
All right, man. So Joe's going with Castle, and that kind of is what our poll question today. Not kind of, it is what our poll question today on YouTube, which you can access through SASportsStar.com besides Wemby, because obviously Wemby has to be great if the Spurs are going to win. Is it Castle, Vassell, Fox, or Harper were the four options we put in the YouTube poll. He goes Castle. De'Aaron Fox leads the way right now at 40%. Castle's at 35%. Harper at 19%. 6. Obviously, all of them have to do their part. I voted in that poll for De'Aaron Fox because while De'Aaron is the calming, steady force, if you will, he's got to score. He's here to make buckets. I mean, that your point guard has to do more than shoot. He has to make those shots. I appreciate the confidence that we hear from De'Aaron Fox. The other day when he asked about the way he was struggling, he was like, dude, I'm not struggling. He's getting the shots that he wants from the spots on the floor that he wants to get there. So when you look at that, I'm like, all right, but you got to make them. Now, shoot or shoot, you've got to make those shots, though. So for me, De'Aaron Fox has to be a scorer tonight, not just a shooter. He's got to make those buckets. Steph Castle, though, obviously he's got to play well on both ends. And I look at the defensive end for Steph Castle, and I think there's going to be a little more pressure on him tonight because obviously he's guarding their best player in Jalen Brunson. But after the crap that we saw the other night, and I say it that way, the officials are going to be a factor tonight. How are they going to call this game? Because Wemby got away with one. That should have been a foul when he shoved Jalen Brunson. Now, Brunson did have his jersey, and he was getting him off of there, but the Spurs did get away with one. Knick fans have every right to be bitching about that non-call, and I'm not going to argue it. And when you watch that replay, you also see Keldon Johnson with a hard forearm to the chest of Karl Anthony Towns. That could have been a foul on the Spurs that was not called. Cool. But then you had Mike Brown bitching about it. Now, I think Spurs fans could also be saying, well, during that fracas when Luke Cornett rolled over Josh Hart, first, Josh Hart gets up, 2 hands to the chest of Luke Cornett, but 4 players from the Knicks left the bench, including OG, including Alvarado. No suspensions, no even talk really of suspensions. The NBA said they reviewed the Wemby play and were considering making that a flagrant foul, which would be an issue. They chose not to upgrade it retroactively to a flagrant foul. But no mention of those guys that left the bench. Now, we talked about this a lot yesterday. The NBA has kind of changed the rules a little bit because it used to be if you were a player on the bench and something happened, you stepped foot on the bench, you were going to be automatically suspended. And somewhere along the way, they've kind of changed the rules on that. And since those guys were being more peacemaker than anything, they aren't getting suspended. So I think Spurs fans I think both fan bases, you could look at it 2 ways. The Knicks, they dodged a bullet because no suspensions for those guys leaving. Spurs fans, that foul wasn't upgraded to a flagrant because you think about the point system when it comes to flagrant fouls. And, of course, Wemby's elbow was a flagrant 2 in that Minnesota series. But the NBA is not going to suspend Victor Wembanyama at this point. Now, will the refs, though, try to control things a lot more tonight than they did the other night? Game 3, they let those guys play. Kind of like what we saw in the Oklahoma City series. And us Spurs fans, we were bitching about the crap that Hartenstein was getting away with. But if the officials are going to let him get away with that, he's going to and should continue to do it. We weren't happy about it as Spurs fans. And now the shoe is kind of on the other foot where the Spurs were getting away with stuff, and now Knick fans aren't happy. And I am curious, as much as there was talk yesterday about the officiating, Mike Brown's comments, he's working the officials. How are they going to call this game tonight? And I think the person that could affect most, if they're being ticky-tack with the whistle, is Steph Castle trying to guard at Jalen Brunson. Steph Castle can't get into foul trouble like he did in the Portland series or the Minnesota series. So I think the officials tonight and how they call this game early is going to be one of the more intriguing storylines of the evening. 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. Let's go back to the phones. Eloy, you're on the Blitz. What's going on, man?
What is up, Jason? Hope you're doing well, my friend.
I'm doing fantastic.
I am excited about Game 4 tonight. Never lost hope. The one thing I told my brother was the Knicks had to lose one game, and when they did, I want to see what they do with adjustments, because usually sometimes long winning streaks in the playoffs can work against you, as we found out about 10 years ago against the Thunder. My thing is for the Spurs tonight, I'm leaning heavily towards them. They are 3-5 in the first 2 games of the series in these playoffs. They're 10-2 between games 3 and 7, which means they make good adjustments. That's a reflection of coaching. That's a reflection of the team, which is awesome, as young as they are. So go Spurs, go! I think they take tonight. I've said it from the beginning. Spurs in 6. They're going to sweep them 4 games in a row here, baby. Let's go.
I appreciate your optimism. That is for sure. And again, that does start tonight. And, Mitch Johnson, after the first 2 games, was taking a lot of heat. And, to a degree, it's earned. And when you lose, that happens. I think Mitch has done a really good job in this series. And really his first year as a coach, as a head coach, getting his team to the NBA Finals. And when I hear some of the complaining after games 1 and 2 and our roster's this team's in the NBA Finals, and it was unexpected. That doesn't mean they aren't above criticism when it is warranted. The other night, not that I want to rehash the end of game 2, but should they have taken a timeout? Yeah. Again, different situation than the Minnesota series where they were down and you want to get that game-winning shot in transition. Here, the game was tied. You take a timeout, you set up the right shot. The worst that happens at that point, if you're shooting at the buzzer, is you're going to overtime. That said, that's the way they have played this entire year. So you can be mad at Mitch, but in reality, it was Wemby that made a poor decision in a big moment. He made that pass. I'm not mad at Steph Castle because he was jetting up floor, because you got a 7'5" French guy that brings the ball up a lot. He handles the ball like a point guard. You heard Steph. He was trying to give him space. They had eye contact, and then Wemby threw it at his back. That was one of those moments where it looked like the youth on this team was good. The inexperience was going to show, and it did. But somehow they responded to that adversity. And as Eloy just said in his call, this team has been down in series all postseason. They were down to Minnesota, they were down to Oklahoma City, and they're currently down to New York. And they seem to respond well when in those situations. They have not lost confidence at all. I mean, Steph Castle did a sit-down interview with Malika Andrews from ESPN, and this team is not lacking in confidence, borderline cockiness. We'll get into that as we continue here from the Dog Haus Beirgarten, Stone Oak Parkway, and at 281 on the Blitz on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Go Spurs, go! Go Spurs, go! Go Spurs, go! Go Spurs, go!
The Morning Huddle.
Why are you dressed like that? You look poor.
Dude,
you're in a prison jumpsuit. You look poor.
Well, his texts are green.
What's wrong with your clothes? You look poor. That's what I always tell Rob when he sees those green texts. Why are your texts green? You look poor.
I know. Poor people.
Poor. Oh.
I'm with you. I used to make fun of guys like me. I get it.
Galana says, you text green like a poor. You text like a poor person with your green bubble. B. Hannon says, a girl stopped talking to me because I sent her a green text.
The Morning Huddle with AJ and Rob. Weekday mornings 6 to 10. 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
Let me tell you about my Connecticut quality water softener. I absolutely love this thing. It has been the best thing I think I've put in my house in a long, long time. It is so much better than any other water softener I've ever had in any other house that I've ever had. It is fantastic. All their products are made right here in the good old US of A, and they've been serving San Antonio for over 50 years. A Connecticut quality water softener protects all of the things in your house that you hold dear, including yourself and your family. Right now, for a limited time, they've still got this great deal going on. When you buy a Connecticut quality water softener, they are going to give you for free a reverse osmosis drinking station that they will install right there at your kitchen sink. What does that mean for you? It means great tasting water. You don't have to lug bottled water home from the grocery store anymore, and you don't have to deal with all that plastic litter that you have to deal with all the time. Plus, there's 0% interest for 12 months. Free money for 12 months. 656 Pure is the number you need to call, 656-7873, or you can get them online at ConnecticutSA.com. And you know the jingle, sing it with me. It's the last water softener you'll ever own. Call 656 Pure, Connecticut.
San Antonio this Saturday, June 13th, 4 p.m. The Gunslingers are bringing the action to Freeman Coliseum for an epic superhero-themed game. Suit up, bring the family, and join us as we celebrate our Spurs during this action-packed afternoon of indoor football. First 1,000 fans get a limited edition superhero cape. And if you're heading to the big game later that evening right next door, come early, catch the Gunslingers first at 4, then just walk over. It's the perfect doubleheader. Tickets are going fast. Get yours now at sagunslingers.com or Ticketmaster.
Attention soccer fans. House of Cards and Collectibles on Vance Jackson has the 2026 Panini Prism FIFA Soccer Card Packs in stock. Pull cards from Mbappe, Messi, Kane, Bellingham, and many more. Find autographs and serial numbered cards randomly inserted. House of Cards and Collectibles also has FIFA World Cup sticker albums and packs. Come in today before they're all gone. House of Cards and Collectibles at 2105 Vance Jackson Road.
Hi, my name's Jason Thompson. I've lived in San Antonio for more than 50 years. Went to grade school, high school, and graduated from law school right here. San Antonians have trusted me as their attorney after serious injury and fatality collisions since 1994. My website is alawyerforus.com. Why a lawyer for us? Well, after several years of practice, I watched as insurance companies created their own law firms solely to defend against auto claims. Today, there are very few insurance companies that do not have their own captive law firm filled with attorneys whose job is to minimize what the insurance company has to pay on an auto claim. If you or a family member is injured in a traffic collision, you will need your own attorney. Just remember alawyerforus.com. For many lawyers you see on billboards, your case will be handled by a non-lawyer or a staff lawyer. If you call me, Jason Thompson, I will be the lawyer you speak with. The initial consultation is always free. If you are a family member and needs an experienced attorney, an attorney you can trust, I want you to call me, Jason Thompson. My number is 900-0400. That's 210-900-0400 or alawyerforus.com.
Did you really think Pure Talk was just going to sit back and watch America turn 250 years old without doing something awesome to celebrate? Of course not. That's why they're raising $250,000 for America's Warrior Partnership by the end of July. America's Warrior Partnership is on the front line of preventing veteran suicide. They've had extraordinary success, and here's how you can help. When you switch your cell phone service to Pure Talk this month, you'll be invited to round up to support America's Warrior Partnership. No pressure, but if you do, Pure Talk will match your donation dollar for dollar. And to further celebrate 250 years of our extraordinary democratic republic, Pure Talk is offering unlimited talk, text, and data for just $34.99 a month. Dial pound 250, say Mike Rowe. That's pound 250, say Mike Rowe. And happy birthday to us.
Ever tried answering emails with kids running through the house? Coldplay Cove is the better way to work and parent. A modern family space where you can grab coffee, work, recharge, and connect while your child safely learns and plays nearby. Built for families, rooted in community. Learn more at coldplaycove.com.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You could win unmatched views of the match during the Twin Peaks Go for the Gold giveaway presented by Michelob Ultra and Casamigos. Visit TwinPeaksSoccer.com to enter for your chance to win by June 14th. Twin Peaks, eats, drinks, scenic views.
The Spurs and the Knicks. This is where you come to talk about the finals. 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star.
Oh, you're going a little balance here, James Pledger. I see what you're doing. With Ryan Eagle on the beach, I thought we were done with that ego song, and you just kind of slipped it in. Come back with a little rock and roll, and we'll see how it's going to work for tonight's big Game 4. It is the Blitz here on 94.1 at San Antonio Sports Star. I'm Jason Minnix, live at the Dog Haus Beirgarten, the Stone Oak location, Stone Oak Parkway and 281. Come hang out, watch the game tonight, have a nice cold beer, and see what's going to happen. How are you guys feeling about tonight? It feels must-winish for both teams, although probably a little bit more pressure on the New York Knicks because they were up 2-0, and if it's 2-2 coming back, Spurs are going to have all the momentum. And the Spurs certainly have all the confidence in the world. Steph Castle sat down with Malika Andrews, and he expects the Spurs to win the next 3 games.
Yeah, definitely. I expect us to win the next 3, but us just taking it game by game, quarter by quarter, and trying to walk this thing down. Like I said, those first 2 games really hurt, and I feel like it was an eye-opener for us. We don't want it to be that way. We want to, punch first and be on the front foot, but that's the reality of it now. So just trying to take it game by game, but yeah, we definitely expect to come into tomorrow and come out here with a win.
And again, I appreciate the confidence, borderline cocky, if you will. But, I think a lot of Spurs fans are feeling that way as well after you saw them actually get a win in New York at Madison Square Garden against this Knicks team because, they had opportunities to win game 1. They had opportunities to win game 2. But the Knicks are good. That's what they do. That's why they're in the NBA Finals. The reality is none of us, and I said this before the series started, I did not know how good New York was because they did not have to even break a sweat in the Eastern Conference Finals. When they had that big comeback against Cleveland, the Cavaliers quit. Philadelphia was an easy series. Atlanta, they were up 50 in the first half of a closeout game in Atlanta. But how good were they? They're really good, but against lesser competition. I think we're seeing over the first 3 games, that's a hell of a basketball team that has gone through their playoff hurt. Couple of years of losing in the second round and then losing in the conference finals. And we talked all year about, can this team, this young Spurs team, make it through without that playoff experience, that playoff pain? Well, they got it in games 1 and 2, and they've responded well in game 3. Can they do that tonight? Now, like you heard a caller earlier, Spurs are going to win the next 4. Paul, who owns House of Cards and Collectibles, just texted me. Spurs are going to win 4 in a row and win the championship. And look, with what we've seen from this Spurs team, I wouldn't put it past them. It would surprise me. At this point, I think it does go 7. Spurs get a win tonight in New York. And whatever happens in game 5, Spurs win that one. New York gets game 6 and then back here for a game 7. And I think all of us would take it. This series through 3 games is really reminding me of that 2005 NBA Finals. That Detroit series was so good. Now, obviously, these games have been closer than that one, but the ebbs and flows of, it's over, and then they come back and win. It just has that kind of feeling to it. And again, 99 is always special because it was the first one, but my favorite finals to cover and be around was that 2005 finals. And then maybe 14 because of what happened in 13 and how special that group was. It's like picking your favorite child, right? But that 05 finals, this feels like it's going to be that kind of slugfest where I think a lot of us wondered Spurs in 4, Spurs in 5, kind of looking at the Knicks the way we did, I don't know, Cleveland in 07. And this Knicks team is just far deeper and far better. That said, Steph Castle told Malika Andrews this team was confident coming into game 3 and then coming into game 4 despite losing 2 in San Antonio.
I think just the way we lost is exactly the way that they like to play. And we let them be too comfortable in that. And we gave them too many opportunities, especially in those first 2 games with, offensive rebounds, not making an extra effort, giving them a wide open shot in the late clock. I thought we did a lot of good things in those first 2 games, even though we didn't really play well as a whole. And we were still able to, come out with those games, very close games at the end. So, I don't think our confidence ever wavered, in those moments. But, going down 0-2 isn't really ideal, especially knowing you're going on the road next. But I think with the group that we have and what we've shown all year, I don't got nothing but confidence in them.
What's that saying? Don't let us get one?
Yeah, don't let us get one.
Well, they got one. Can they get two? And again, you think about the intensity to start game 3 was impressive. Now, they've started well in all their games. But in New York, with all the pomp and circumstance that was going on in the Garden, if you're a young, immature team, you could easily get caught up in the moment. And when you see Dylan Harper on with Scott Van Pelt after the game saying, dude, I saw Jay-Z, and a little freaked out because that's Jay-Z. And SVP said, just say hi. I tried not to look at him and let him say, again, that was a moment. I think a lot of us would just be freaked out by all the celebrities that are sitting there from you name it. And, of course, with the president there and the security that they had to go with. They seem unfazed by it. But then they were down at halftime after that great first half. And that's been an issue. Now, credit New York for that because they come back. It was the clutch plays in the fourth quarter down the stretch. In the first 2 games where the Spurs had opportunity to win, New York, Jalen Brunson, they made the clutch plays. The Spurs did not. How did the Spurs capture that same kind of intensity that they got in game 3 down the stretch heading into tonight's game 4?
I think just still using the same fuel and fire from those first 2 games that dropped. Obviously, those games hurt. But, just try not to get satisfied with this one win. I don't know if you saw us after the game. None of us really celebrated or, got too excited. We kind of just walked back to the locker room. And I think that's just, like I said, the maturity of our team. When things matter, we all want to win. We don't care who really puts the ball in the basket, who gets the numbers. We all just want to win. So, just trying to stick with it, like I said, and not get satisfied with just one win, knowing we came here to get 2.
Well, and again, obviously, as he sat down with Malik Andrews on ESPN, this Spurs team took a lot of national criticism for the way they celebrated winning the Western Conference Finals. And I didn't really have a problem with it because it was big, but you almost wonder with the way things worked in games 1 and 2, was that criticism probably warranted from former NBA players? A lot of us thought that the true NBA championship was being played in the Western Conference Finals. The New York Knicks have said, hold my beer. And they have the lead heading into tonight's game. So I do appreciate them seemingly acting different because you're still down in the series. You can't act like you did anything except for you got 1. They get 2. Now, what they did in the locker room when nobody is around or on the plane ride home, if it's 2-2, that's fine because, they get a couple of days before Game 5 Saturday night back here in San Antonio. And that's one thing that I think will be key for the San Antonio Spurs. You saw Wemby with a little bit of rest have different energy. Now, Monday to Wednesday, but after this, there's 2 days between each game. And the San Antonio Spurs certainly have to take advantage of that. And Steph Castle, he's going to because he's going to be key tonight for a variety of reasons, and one of them is his defense on Jalen Brunson.
I think just being physical in every play and staying consistent with it, whether they call it or not, knowing that, this magnitude of a game, they can't call, every foul. I feel like both teams are getting fouled pretty much every time down. But, just trying to stay physical with it, but be smart and understand what they're looking at. It's a filling out process for majority of the first half, and then once you kind of realize how the refs are calling it, you kind of just want to play, but still make it tough.
And I think that's one of the most important things to watch tonight early. We can talk about these matchups and a Jalen Brunson matchup or De'Aaron Fox making shots or Wemby in the paint versus shooting threes early. All of that secondary to what the officials are going to let play out tonight. Just think about what you just heard Steph Castle say. The idea that the other game, these games have been so physical. And you heard a player say, there's fouls every play, they're not calling it. Well, if they're not calling it, you're going to continue to do it. They should. Both teams should. Just like Hartenstein in the Oklahoma City series. That's a part of the game. But with all the stuff, all the crap that Mike Brown was talking about after the game, and then them spending time yesterday reviewing the Wemby play on Jalen Brunson that obviously did not get upgraded to a flagrant foul, because obviously they're not going to do anything to suspend Victor in the NBA Finals. But it wasn't warranted either. Yeah, the Spurs got away with one that should have been a foul, common foul, not a flagrant foul. But Spurs did get away with one there. And, you know, you look at Josh Hart with 2 hands to the chest of Luke Cornett. Guys came off the bench. New York got away with one there. And again, that's fine. But with all the talk about the officiating over the last 24 hours, you wonder how this game is going to get called tonight. Because you could tell after that Luke Cornett, Josh Hart play, the referees started tightening things up and calling quicker fouls. They weren't letting as much go. The Spurs adjusted to that pretty quickly. The Knicks did not. They were in the bonus earlier, which is why there was such a free throw disparity that Mike Brown was bitching about. So it will be interesting to see tonight how this game is officiated. And as a fan, it sucks that officials are always a part of the conversation. I just want it consistent. If you're going to call it early in the game, call it late in the game. If you're going to let it go early in the game, let it go late in the game, because I do think this is going to be another one of those games that comes down to the fourth quarter. But you wonder about, you know, that Wemby foul on Jalen Brunson that was not called, that little shove. You know, Jose Alvarado, his words, not mine. Wemby got away with one. He ain't getting away with another one.
Some of those plays, I don't think they're basketball plays, you know. But like I said, when in the games, you know, those type of games in atmosphere, you miss calls, you know, stuff like that. So, you know, they can't call everything. But like I said, we be all right. That's something that, you know, they gotta look at. But he got away with one, so that'd be the last one.
You know, it almost is like they're putting a target on him, but it is kind of funny, comical when you hear that. Is he calling the Spurs a dirty team? I mean, really, the Spurs a dirty team? I don't know. It's kind of comical when you think about it. 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. Your thoughts on tonight's game. We'll take your calls coming up. Plus, we will head to the Garden. Our good friend Don Harris from News 4 joins us next on Game Night San Antonio, brought to you by Vision Source. More coming up here from the Dog Haus Stone Oak location, Stone Oak Parkway and at 281. You know, injuries do happen, and when they do, you can skip the ER and get to the Ortho Now Injury Clinic by TSAOG Orthopedics and Spine. Ortho Now provides walk-in care for injuries like broken bones, dislocations, sprains, and strains. Conveniently located in the Corey area with extended hours Monday through Saturday. They have on-site x-ray casting and bracing. In fact, Ortho Now has everything you need to treat your injury, but best of all, no urgent care or emergency room copay. So if you're injured, get to the Ortho Now Injury Clinic. Learn more online at tsaog.com.
Got a buddy who thinks he knows baseball? Perfect. On Rangers game days, prove it with the Morning Huddle's Rangers Double Dinger Payday. Pick the Ranger you think will launch it out of here. He hits one, you and a friend are headed to a Rangers game. He hits two. Now you've got tickets and hotel. Yeah, you're making a night of it, and your buddy's buying the first round. Wake up with the Morning Huddle. Call your shot and win the Morning Huddle's Rangers Double Dinger Payday. 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star, South Texas home of the Texas Rangers.
This is the story of the one who keeps multiple buildings running smoothly day after day. Plumbing that flows, HVAC that hums, cleaning supplies that keep surfaces sparkling. That's why she counts on Grainger. With easy reordering online and 24/7 support, Grainger helps her keep the products she needs on hand. So shelves stay stocked and buildings stay ready. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
San Antonio's newest sports headquarters, Novo Brewery. Craft beers, full bar, hard kombucha on tap, a handcrafted food menu, and massive LED screens. Attached to North Star Mall with late hours. Visit novobrew.com. That's NOVObrew.com.
We have meaningful basketball being played in San Antonio for the first time in years, and you know the Roof Hub has proven to be the best place to go watch the games with those 3 massive 170-inch screens and TVs all around. All the games, all the fights, and when you show up at the Roof Hub, show up hungry. Open daily at 11. Great for lunch, great for dinner, great for late at night, and the best place to watch the game. Just down from the big blind, right next to the Angry Elephant. The Roof Hub, 281 in Redland Road. We'll see you at the Roo.
For adults with Crohn's disease or ulcerative colitis symptoms, every choice matters. Tremfya offers self-injection or intravenous infusion from the start. Tremfya is administered as injections under the skin or infusions through a vein every 4 weeks, followed by injections under the skin every 4 or 8 weeks. If your doctor decides that you can self-inject Tremfya, proper training is required. Tremfya is a prescription medicine used to treat adults with moderately to severely active Crohn's disease and adults with moderately to severely active ulcerative colitis. Serious allergic reactions, increased risk of infections or lower ability to fight them, and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or need a vaccine. Explore what's possible. Ask your doctor about Tremfya today. Call 1-800-526-7736 to learn more or visit tremfyaradio.com.
Power your drive with Mobil 1 motor oil. Buy 5 quarts, get $15 back, and score a fast and furious prize after rebate at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hi, I am Officer Sarai Walton with the San Antonio Police Department. SAPD is always hiring, and you can apply online if you think you have what it takes to become part of the SAPD family. Submit your application at sapdcareers.com. Once you submit your application, you will be contacted to begin the process. The San Antonio Police Department is always hiring. Start your journey to a rewarding career by applying online at sapdcareers.com. That is sapdcareers.com.
Eczema, eczema, eczema. So many ads for eczema products. But those fancy TV ads don't mention that those prescription products can cost thousands of dollars. There's a smarter way. It's Exoderm for eczema and dermatitis. Exoderm costs less than $20. Yep, less than $20. You don't need a prescription, and it's available on the first aid aisle of your local store. Exoderm contains the #1 doctor-recommended ingredient in a clean, hypoallergenic cream with no harsh additives or nasty chemicals. Exoderm, fast, effective relief from the itching and inflammation of eczema. This stuff really does work. Take back control. Heal eczema flares with soothing Exoderm Flare Control Cream. It's on the first aid aisle of your local drugstore, supermarket, and at Target and Walmart too. Exoderm for eczema. Now that's smart.
This is the story of the one. As a maintenance engineer at a beverage manufacturing plant, he starts his day knowing every line is ready to run because Grainger delivers the industrial-grade products he needs to keep mixers, conveyors, and packaging equipment moving. With Grainger's vast selection of bearings, belts, and motors, he keeps operations running smoothly, so nothing grinds to a halt. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
It's the Morning Huddle with AJ Hoffman and Rob Thompson.
Coming up on the Morning Huddle, the series headed back to San Antonio. How the Spurs looking going into Game 5?
Do they need to win 2 straight or 3 straight? We'll talk about how they got there and what they got to do. Get here early. The party starts at 6.
It's the Morning Huddle with AJ Hoffman and Rob Thompson. Morning 6 to 10 on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. San Antonio and New York. This is where you come to talk about the finals. 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star.
It is the Blitz here on 94.1 at San Antonio Sports Star. Joe Reinagel on vacation. I'm Jason Minnix, live at the Dog Haus Beirgarten, the Stone Oak location at Stone Oak Parkway and at 281. Huge game tonight, Game 4. Let's talk about it. Game night, San Antonio.
This is Game Night San Antonio. Brought to you by Vision Source. on 94.1 San Antonio's Sports Star. Every weekday game night, The Blitz with Jason and Joe get you inside and ready for tonight's game. From insiders to an in-depth preview of tonight's game, this is Game Night San Antonio, brought to you by Vision Source, beyond your eyes.
It is Game Night San Antonio, brought to you by Vision Source. Go see Dr. Bobby Wood over at Wood Vision Source on Bandera Road between Braun and Gilboa, or Stone Oak Vision Source. Dr. Chandler Mann there on Stone Oak Parkway in Hardy Oak, not far from where we are right now at the Dog Haus Stone Oak location as we get ready for tonight's crucial Game 4. Kind of feels a little must-winish for both games. Maybe a little bit more pressure on the New York Knicks, trying to go up 3-1 as opposed to coming back to San Antonio with a series tied at 2-2. How you feeling about it? 210-656-ESPN, 656-3776. On YouTube, our poll question, we're at 186 votes. We need to get over 200. So go over to YouTube and vote. You can get there through sasportstar.com, or if you're on YouTube, search out San Antonio Sports Star. Most important Spur not named Wemby tonight. Steph Castle is at 33%. De'Aaron Fox is at 41%. Dylan Harper is at 20%, and Devin Vassell at 6%. Admittedly, I voted for De'Aaron Fox because that guy's got to score. In my mind, he has to be able to make some shots tonight. Yes, he's getting his shots, but we've got to see those going in. He's got to have a double-digit scoring night in my mind tonight. Steph Castle is obviously one that has to play big, and as we talked about in the last segment, depending on how this game is officiated tonight could depend on how effective he is when it comes to the defense on Jalen Brunson. He can't get into foul trouble and have to go sit down, especially early in the game. Steph Castle is going to have to play big in that area tonight and go from there. And obviously, Victor Wembanyama scoring early and a focus of staying in the paint. You saw that in Game 3. And he dominated inside. And he only took 4 3-pointers for the entire game. He was 2 of 4. And that's what you want from Vic. The question is, what adjustments do you expect New York to make to try to keep that from happening? Obviously, they know that that's what the Spurs are going to try to do. So what are they going to do defensively? I think those are all going to be pretty important keys tonight for the San Antonio Spurs. You know, and you think about what went right in Game 3, they were able to get a lot of transition offense off of the New York turnovers, something they didn't do in Games 1 and 2 in San Antonio. And they didn't turn the ball over much in Game 3. And obviously, taking care of the basketball is always one of the – it doesn't matter what you're watching. That's always going to be a key. That's what you're going to have to do. But I do think that's going to be some of the things to look at tonight. And for New York, if Jalen Brunson continues to struggle with his shot, I wonder if there is more of a focus for him to become more an assist man, because Karl Anthony Towns only had 10 shots in Game 3. And that surprised me when you consider the way Karl Anthony Towns played in the first 2 games. I mean, Cat was likely the MVP of this series after the first 2 games. I don't know that he would still be the MVP frontrunner after his lackluster Game 3 performance. But again, still a lot of basketball to be played in this series. We know it's at least going 5 and, hopefully 6 if the Spurs can win 4 straight games and go from there. So those are some things to look at and go with tonight. And I know, Pledge, you and I were talking earlier about just the ebbs and flows of the way these have gone. All these games have been tight games in the fourth quarter. And the line earlier before the show started was at 2.5. Then it got down to 1.5. And I haven't looked to see if there's been any movement there, but I found that interesting that the Knicks favored, but down to 1.5. So I think Vegas is expecting another close game. At some point, though, we're going to have a blowout in this series. I just don't know when we are actually going to see it. 210-656-ESPN, 877-337-36. Let's go to the phones. West Side at Rudy. You're on the Blitz. What's going on, man?
My man, thanks for taking the call. Hitting 35 southbound right now. Hey, I'm not going to mind if the road team wins the first 6 games, and let's bring it home. Game 7, let's do it. But as far as the player who I would love to step up, what you got?
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
For I think a defining moment for reigning 6th man of the year. I've waited for him this entire playoffs. If there was a game that I would love that man Johnson to step up, why not tonight? Let's do it.
You know, Rudy, that's yeah. Go. I appreciate the phone call, Rudy. I mean, you think about a guy like Keldon Johnson, who, for the most part, has been a no-show of this entire playoff run. He has had his moments, but role players need to have a moment. You look at Luke Cornett. That dude was torched in the series against Oklahoma City. He was just god-awful, but he made that block. I mean, that block. He had one play, a memorable play. Can Keldon Johnson do that? Now, we've all looked at Keldon's scoring or lack thereof, but I thought his defense the other night on Karl Anthony Towns in Game 3 was spectacular. And that was a big reason why the Spurs were able to get that Game 3 win. So it's not always just what is Keldon doing on a scoring-wise situation, but his defense was solid on Karl Anthony Towns. And I wouldn't be surprised to see him getting some more minutes, because those minutes were disappearing because he wasn't effective. But if he's going to play defense at that level, he's going to be on the floor more. And again, you look at, I'm worried about a guy like Steph Castle getting in the foul trouble tonight, which means Dylan Harper. And Harper's never been afraid to take a shot, especially a 3. I would like to see Dylan become a little bit more accurate from 3, but dude's a rookie, but plays outstanding defense. I wouldn't be surprised if Carter Bryant had a little bit more run tonight to help some on the defensive end. But it is going to be interesting to see how that ultimately plays out. That is for sure. Pledge, I saw you on the video. You about to jump in?
No. I was making calls.
All right. Well, I mean, at this point, connecting with Don Harris in the vowels of the Madison Square Garden probably isn't going to happen. If it's going straight to voicemail, my guess is his cell reception is just awful, which, based on what he was talking about the other night and the way things were going, that certainly wouldn't surprise me. I haven't checked the line lately, James. Has the line moved at all?
Let me check.
All right, you can check, because I know before the show it was 2.5, and then it dropped down to 1.5. Knicks being favored, and kind of like Rudy, the last caller, said, wouldn't mind seeing the road team win the first 6. See, I got a problem with that. I want to see the road team win the first 4 in this series because I want the road team to win tonight. That's never happened in the NBA. It's happened one other time where the road team won the first 3 games of an NBA Finals. But I'm going to the game Saturday night. I want to see a Spurs win. So, and regardless, I want to see a Spurs win. But what I don't want to see is the Knicks with the opportunity to celebrate, and I certainly don't want to see the Knicks celebrating on the floor of the Frost Bank Center on Saturday night. And again, you look at and you could say, does that actually put more pressure on the Knicks heading into this game tonight? Because they are at home. New York has been insane in a variety of ways. And they finally get to the finals, and they're up 2-0 coming home. They're thinking sweep, whether the players are thinking sweep or you just have the Knicks fans that were saying Knicks and 4, and they've switched that to Knicks and 5. But you just wonder what kind of letdown the Knicks have mentally after a 13-game playoff winning streak to have that snapped on their home floor when there was so much going on and the anticipation for that game was so high, and they show up and they were able to crush them. I mean, it is kind of nuts when you look at it that way.
Lines moved again.
Yeah.
Knicks minus 2.5, and the over/under has gone up by a point to 260.5.
All right, so it was at 2.5 down to 1.5, and it's moved back a little bit. Interesting, though, James, when you look at it and you think, all right, The home team has yet to win. The favorite team has yet to win. Hopefully that is a trend that will continue. Our good friend RJ Ochoa from bloggingtheboys.com just texted me and said Spurs by 6 tonight. And again, you look at how close all of these games have been, which, all right, game one, ultimately final score was a 10-point win for the New York Knicks, but that game was a 1-point game with 2 minutes to play. The Knicks get the 1-point win in game two, 105-104. 115-111 for the Spurs in game three, a 4-point game. At some point, there's going to be a blowout in this series. And I don't know if that's going to be tonight, but at some point that's going to happen. But I think it's because you have both teams that are so damn scrappy, they're going to battle all the way down. And you look at Jalen Brunson, big shots down the stretch in game one and game two. For that matter, Jalen hit some big shots down the stretch of game three, but the Spurs were able to answer those big shots. That big three from Steph Castle, De'Aaron Fox with some big shots. Is this one going to go down to the wire as well? Again, you look at the ratings, we're all loving this. We are all loving what we're seeing from the San Antonio Spurs and the New York Knicks when you look at it. Caden, you just turned off the internet, man. I don't know why you're unplugging stuff and trying to go, but that controls my laptop, man. You can't pack up to leave early. Dude.
Still time left.
We got 5 minutes left in the show. Can't quit yet. And you can't take away the important things. Good Lord. Let's go to the phones. Wes, you're on the Blitz. What's going on, man?
Yeah, hey, Jason, thanks again for taking my call. Hey, listen, this series reminds me a lot of the 95 Rocket Spurs series, not in the sense of who's playing and how, but, I was a high school senior back then, and I watched the Rockets torture, the Spurs in those first two games in the Alamo Dome. And then, the city kind of went down. And the same thing kind of happened as you would expect after going down 0-2 here. And then the Spurs in 95 went over to the Summit and just smoked the Rockets. And if I remember correctly, Game 4 was a blowout for the Spurs. And it looked like that series was going to turn. And it just kept the other way. So the Rockets came back to San Antonio, and I remember being up against the 45-degree angle on the third deck that night, watching Akeem just go dream shake all over David. And it was just, I think the difference this year more than anything else, besides personnel and a different era, is I think when you look at what happens for the Knicks, they're feeling 50 years worth of pressure, whereas these young Spurs, they don't have to feel any pressure because nobody expected them to be there, and everybody keeps questioning whether they can do it. So they're proving to themselves that they have what it takes versus having a 50-year pressure of trying to get it done for a city that's been yearning for it.
That's an interesting perspective, Wes, when you look at the various levels of pressure. And you're right. In a couple of weeks, I think the Spurs team and us Spurs fans can sit there and go, man, what a special run. A completely unexpected run, and you kind of go from there. But those players in that locker room right now, they're not thinking about it. They are not. You go back to something Victor said at Media Day. The goal for this team was to be an actual playoff team, to qualify for the playoffs, not the play-in. So the goal was to be at least 6 in the Western Conference. And all of us, be a playoff team, get some of that experience, and go from there. But now that they're in it, I can't imagine that any of them are feeling like us that, hey, man, we made it this far, we're satisfied. And what we know about Victor Wembanyama, he is not. That dude wants to win at everything. So they might look back and say, yeah, that was a special run, and it was unexpected. But there's no guarantees. You heard Harrison Barnes say this the other day. There's no guarantees that they'll ever get back here. There's expectation that they're going to get a lot and that Wemby's going to collect a whole bunch of rings. But to go win a championship in any sport, but especially the NBA, you got to be good and you got to be healthy. And you got to be healthy for 82 regular season games, and you got to be healthy for however many playoff games that you're going to have. And you can't control a knee or an ankle or blood clots that are going to end your season. So while we can expect them to constantly be here, you can't take it for granted. that it's actually going to work out. So they can't go into tonight's game thinking they've got house money and they're good to go. Come watch the game here with us at Dog Haus Beirgarten on Stone Oak Parkway and at 281. We've got Rangers baseball coming up next. The Morning Huddle will get you going with all the reaction tomorrow at 6 a.m.
Go, Spurs, go! Go, Spurs, go! Go, Spurs, go! Go, Spurs, go!
You're listening to The Blitz.